The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
A Jets insider was surprised that Aaron Glenn admitted this at the end of the Jets season. We'll talk about that and the latest on Dante Moore and much more. Robby Sabo will join us. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
I let the organization down, and I let the players down, and that burns me. It really does. This season's on me, and we're going to work our ass off to get this shit exactly where it needs to be.
A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Reminder, if you ever missed the YouTube show live, you can check it out in podcast form. You can listen back to anything you might have missed in audio form. Again, Spotify and Apple. Subscribe there. Leave a review. And just like we read some funny Reddit comments, we'll have to read some funny reviews for anyone reviewing the podcast in audio form. But that, let's say hello to our good friend, Robby Sabo, the co-founder of JetsXFactor.com. Mr. Sabo, how are we feeling on this fine Tuesday?
It's good. I mean, weekend was pretty wild. Started out with a bang and ended with a little defense. I'll tell you, I'm going to be rooting for Houston the rest of the way. They might restore my faith in defensive football. But just the way the roller coaster went this weekend, I think Jets fans really have to pay attention to the Jets themselves. Because if you look at it, you know, it was offensive banana football with the offensive-minded head coaches early, ending with more defensive-minded head coaches and more traditional old-school stuff. So, bottom line, head coach mindset means everything. It always starts there, and we just don't talk about it enough, but it's so hugely important.
I think that's well said. I also want to remind people that it is Tuesday, so end of the show today, we have the Asmaniac Weekly Raffle in honor of Super Bowl III. The anniversary was yesterday. End of the show today, we're going to give away this framed Super Bowl III ticket and scorecard from the game. That's the top prize, plus a signed Broadway Joe Namath helmet and a replica Namath Super Bowl III ring. Those are the three prizes. And as we always do on Raffle Day, when you enter for Raffle 56, you also will be entered in next week's raffle. 2-for-1 special. Top prize next week is a signed Garrett Wilson Jets helmet, a signed Darrelle Revis Jets helmet, and let's stick with the helmet theme for next week, a signed Chad Pennington helmet. So 3 prizes for next week, your chance to win those, and of course, your chance to win the 3 weekly prizes, the Super Bowl III theme at the end of today. You know, specifically with last night, I just thought it was such a bad matchup for Pittsburgh because that Texans defense, I mean, this is maybe the best defense we've seen since the 2015 Broncos, where their defense is actually good enough to carry below average quarterback play all the way to the Super Bowl. And I think last night was a great example. CJ Stroud was terrible. The final score was 30-6. This should have been an even bigger blowout. The Steelers could do nothing offensively. They couldn't protect Rodgers. He couldn't find anyone open downfield. They had the corners to cover Metcalf, who also had some brutal drops in this one that could have maybe changed the game early. I just think that Texans defense is ferocious, but if they're going to go into New England next week and win, Robby, they're going to need to get way more from Stroud on that offense, especially now with no Nico Collins, who's in concussion protocol and is unlikely to play in the game next week.
Oh, really? Is it already unlikely? That's rough.
Well, it's tough to clear the protocol in a week, as we know.
It is. You're right. It's listen, it was a double whammy for Pitt because while on one hand you like Rodgers at the line of scrimmage, you like how he fits today's game, short passes, short pass completion, gets it off quick. He doesn't want to get hit. We all know this, the old man. That's good, but it was a double whammy because his weapons aren't good. Other than DK, they're really not great. They can't separate. Their O-line is not great. So it was the lack of separation downfield and the lack of time. That pass rush for D'Amico is It's unreal. It is unbelievable. And shout out to I know a lot of Jets fans know this guy, Cody Alexander, matchquarters.com. Check it out if you haven't. He did a thing on Houston's defense, I think this past week, where he called it the anti-defense. They're 32nd in terms of a couple of metrics in terms of pressuring and sending guys. They're very vanilla. They're very transparent in the way they go about things. But that fits today's league. If you have the horses up front, it's what Salah likes to do. He wanted to get the horses up front to make it work. And that's what fits today's league. That's what modern defense is. Now, it'll be interesting to see what they do against May and McDaniels. But I expect another low, slow plotting game. The proof for Houston, the proof in the pudding will come against whoever is in the AFC title game, Josh Allen or Peyton, and then obviously in the Super Bowl, which an offensive-minded team will be there.
So the Texans advance. Here's your look at the divisional playoff matchups here. You can see the schedule. It all starts Saturday, 4:30. Denver hosting Buffalo.
I got McDonald. I forgot about McDonald. They could get there too. Yeah.
You got the Saturday night game, Sam Darnold against Robert Saleh. So that's Seahawks and the Niners. That's on Fox at 8. The 3 p.m. games, the matchup we were just discussing, Mike Vrabel and Drake May against C.J. Stroud and D'Amico Ryans. That's 3 p.m. Sunday, and then 6:30 in Chicago. The Bears hosting McVay, Stafford, and the Rams. So this is my personal favorite weekend of football. I know people love Championship Sunday. I love having the 2 games each day. So I'm looking forward to it. If you're going to bet on any of these games, you guys know FanDuel is our presenting sponsor. Make sure you do it with FanDuel Sportsbook. One thing I did want to hit, because I've seen a lot of like Jet fans like celebrating, the Steelers being eliminated and Rodgers going down. I just think it's really weak to do that. Like, again, let's remember what a lot of people were saying at the beginning of the year. In the preseason, it was Rodgers is washed. The Steelers only signed him because they were desperate. Rodgers will never be able to work with Arthur Smith. Rodgers is going to end the streak that Tomlin has had of never having a losing season. Rodgers will tear the locker room apart. Then in the regular season, the Jets are going to beat Rodgers week 1. Well, that didn't happen. Rodgers barely beat the Jets. The Steelers, they're going to suck. The Steelers aren't going to have a winning season. The Steelers haven't beaten anyone good. Rodgers is overrated. Steelers won't win that division. Steelers are only leading the division because the other teams stink. Without DK, Rodgers and the Steelers are done. Rodgers is not going to beat the Ravens. He only won because of a missed kick. Rodgers won't win a playoff game. Oh, I told you he wouldn't win a playoff game. So we've had some all-time goalpost moving. And again, look, he's 42 years old. He's probably going to retire. I think he should retire, but at least he goes out winning
it
10
sounds
games
like it.
And go into the playoffs. Like the idea that this is like some great win for the Jet organization, like it's really not. You went 3-14. Like you can't really talk trash when you've been as bad as the Jets have been.
Look, first of all, you're a masochist for going on Twitter and checking that stuff out. It's just like, think about all the different types of humans in this world. Like, line them up and think about it. And then ask yourself, man, do I expect all of them to be coherent and have the ability to understand things? No, of course not. I'm an idiot in many ways too, of course. But it's ridiculous. Like, look at Pittsburgh's roster on paper, the offense. Okay. The O-line's not great. DK, tremendous. Missed the last 2 games. DK, stud. But beyond DK, who do they have? Freiermuth, he's solid. He's okay. Austin, they don't have weapons. They're Warren and Gainwell. Are they Hall of Famers? No. Then you look at what the Jets potentially could have had. Again, the issue is not Rodgers having to be on the Jets or not. The issue is Rodgers representing the symbol for where they go wrong or where they could potentially go right. And when you look at that Steelers offense personnel on paper and what the Jets could have been, Rodgers, Garrett, Devontae, Brees, Mason Taylor, you still got Braylon Allen, you still got Isaiah Davis, Membu, still could have drafted him, with Fashanu, with that O-line. You could have had great O-line coaching, and with, it wouldn't have worked with Glenn, different type of mindset, 2 alpha guys, that wouldn't have worked. But with a different guy like a McCarthy, you're telling me that roster, that offensive roster on paper is worse than the Steelers? No chance in the world. So let's not act like this is some Herculean, ridiculous thing that a guy has to come in and be Mark Messier to break a curse. It's not. Just make moves to try to win as many football games as possible. That's all it is. That's all you got to do, Jets.
Comments, questions, super chats, they will cut the line. Good article in the New York Post I was reading today from Brian Costello. In the article, Kaz mentioned the fact that a year ago, the perception of what the Jets were going to do when they were going to hire a head coach and general manager was that they were going to hire guys with experience, right? This comes off the Jets pursuing Mike Vrabel to be their head coach. They had him in the building. And then, of course, he takes the New England job after the Patriots fired Gerard Mayo, right? And you look at the first year for Glenn, and I'm going to pull up the article, and we can even go through it here because I think it does highlight some legitimate concerns any rational Jet fan should have about this head coach and specifically where this organization now goes in the offseason. So the part that I thought was particularly interesting in the story here, and again, the article is by Brian Costello in the New York Post. A year later, it's difficult to not view Vrabel as the one who got away for the Jets. Glenn had a terrible first season as Jets coach, going 3-14 and losing in epic fashion down the stretch. It was hard to find any positive in Glenn's performance other than hiring special teams coordinator Chris Banjo. So I appreciate Kaz at least addressing the what does Aaron Glenn do well, because you can't find anything other than Banjo who could be retained by the next head coach.
That made you smile, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's just like everyone knows what's going on here. But here's what I thought was interesting. Looking back at the hiring of Glenn and GM Darren Muji, what still surprises me is the Jets decided to hire two people who were first-timers in the job. Going back to when Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas were fired, the feeling around the franchise was that at least one of the positions of head coach and GM would be filled by someone who had done the job before. The search process took them in a different direction, though, and to Glenn and Muji. Now, here's the part that I particularly agree with Kaz the most. At the season-ending press conference, Glenn leaned into the idea that he and Muji were learning on the job in 2025. Quote, as a rookie head coach, and the same thing as a GM, man, going through the first year and really understanding the landscape of everything, like that's a huge deal, Glenn said. I will tell you that right now. And speaking of myself, man, there's a number of things that I know I will be better at. And then Kaz wrote this, and this I think is the most damning thing. I was surprised to hear that from Glenn because during the spring and summer, he often spoke of how Lions coach Dan Campbell and other mentors had prepared him to be a head coach. The season may have humbled Glenn a bit, and the Jets can only hope he recognizes areas where he has to change in year two. And again, this was my biggest issue with the hire from the beginning. You hire people who have never done the job and expect them to be good at it right away. And when you're the Jets and you have this playoff drought and you have everything that comes with being the Jet coach, that's just not realistic. And I do think it's a pretty big admission there from Aaron Glenn. I understand why Kaz is questioning it in the story because it's another example of this guy coming in, saying he's going to do things, and the total opposite happens. We could go down the long list of things that this man promised he'd be able to do, and it all failed. And this is another example of him now trying to move the goalposts. Oh, I was a rookie. It's like, well, you can't come in and say everything you said, take shots at the previous administration, everything that went down, and just blame it on the fact you're now a rookie. Like, that is not an acceptable answer. Most franchises, I think 30 of 32, would have fired Aaron Glenn after year one. So to Kaz's point, we as Jet fans have to just hope he recognizes where he struggled and he could change it and be a lot better in year two, or he's not going to get a third year.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things. To the Jets' credit, they went after Vrabel, didn't get him. They went hard. That was their guy. We all know this. And the first thing that pops into my mind is, from a top of an organization standpoint, Woody, it seems like he makes moves that are closely connected to the last time they had success. Okay. Mangini, no matter how it ended, I think still Mangini should have been their guy for decades. I don't care what he did at Cleveland. He was a good coach and he was a better personnel guy. He built those teams. But Mangini, close ties to New England. Okay, light bulb. Vrabel, close ties to New England. That makes sense. We're going to recapture the last time we were really good. And then Glenn, defensive guy, first timer, sort of like Rex. I think that's where he sort of gets into trouble, where he's trying to Tannenbaum, the ties with Rex the last time they were good. He's got to break away from that mindset. Don't think about the last time you were successful. Think about being logical and looking around the league and seeing what wins. That's what you have to do. In terms of Costello, I know fans kill the Jets media. I get it. It's frustrating being a Jets fan. But Kaz, dude, Samini, Hughes, all these guys, Wazak, they know the ins and outs. They've been around for a long time. They know the Jets organization. Don't poo-poo that. That is legit. So yeah, I think it's not a bad admission by Glenn. I would just tell him, hey, it's a good admission. It's a good place to be right now, because last year when you got the job, last year during the summer, you were all about belief, swagger, in very little logic. And that has to be reversed. The belief, the swagger, the emotions, the needle has swung more to the logic side in terms of trying to plot out a plan to have success in this league. And hopefully he's getting that message.
I mean, he asked the team to buy into what he was preaching, and then they started 0-7. Like you lose the team right there. Your message is lost when it looks as bad as it did at the beginning of the year. And then after you rallied and won a couple games against backup quarterbacks in a game that you were playing to win, you came out down 21-0 to the Dolphins, who aren't any good in your own building. Like it just, and then, the Brady Cook era started. Oh, they're tanking. And we could debate, should it ever look as bad as it did down the stretch, whatever.
No,
but
it should never do it. Never.
Of course
never.
not. But people will say, oh, what do you expect? But again, I don't even want to focus on the last 5 games. Let's
Never.
talk about
By
how
the way,
they started
Glenn would say
0-7.
it. Glenn would say it. So the fans, carrying the water for them, you're wrong. Glenn would disagree with you. It should never look that bad.
No.
Are you out of your minds?
They quit on him. I mean, he
Listen.
questioned their effort after the Patriots game. They quit on the coach.
It's as simple as human nature. No matter what the logic says, some people have to ying when everyone's yanging. That's all there is to it. And if you don't, there's another part of it where you have to have hope. And if you don't have hope, what's the point? I view it a little bit differently. It's not about hope. It's about analyzation. Like, you could leave some room for hope, but you just have to be logical. And, when Glenn came in, it was strange. He talked about not wanting to be noisy. Like, this is a new era and not noisy, yet all he did was be noisy. The whole Aaron Rodgers thing, the way he handled it, I didn't really care at the time. I cared more about the process leading up to the hiring of the head coach, which I didn't like. And I made it be known. I didn't like the 33rd team hire. I didn't think it was right. I saw a lot of potential for messiness, and I don't like the traits they value in terms of when they're searching for a head coach. The offensive, defensive stuff I bring up, but it's not black and white. It's not north and south. Defensive coaches can have success, of course. It's brought up because that's the simplest way to do it, because the guys at head coach who have quarterback experience, who are offensive minded, who call plays, just by the benefit of being the head coach, have a built-in advantage, because that is the most important thing they focus on. And when the offense and QB efficiency is the most valuable thing that impacts the game the most, the order is set. The order is set in a way that gives you the best advantage. Defense could complement that underneath. Special teams can complement that underneath. Glenn came in, we're going to be a rushing team. Unapologetic. I know how to win. I know how to do it. Rushing team, Fields, London, it all matched up. Membu in the draft. They didn't have a receiver 2 because you don't really need one. The offense is going to be simplistic because of Rodgers, zone reads, Fields, because of zone reads, RPOs, all that stuff. He had a vision. He tried to jam that vision into whatever existing roster he had. And that is the exact opposite way to do it in today's league.
Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. We'll get to them. The last part of the article, I think, is just the reality we face as fans of this team. Right now, it looks as if the Patriots won the coaching sweepstakes with Vrabel. The Bears, Ben Johnson, and the Jaguars, Liam Cohen, also may have something to say about that, but the Jets don't have to play those teams twice a year. Glenn and the Jets now have to deal with Vrabel, May combo in New England, and the Bills and Josh Allen are not going anywhere either. And again, we're talking about coaches in Cohen and Johnson who are in their first year. So I don't want to hear from Aaron Glenn, whoa, man, I wasn't aware of just how much being a head coach is. Like, you can't have your message be this wrong and just think fans are going to be okay with moving forward for a second year. Again, I had Brandon Tierney on yesterday. He tried to defend Glenn, but what are one of the first things he brings up? How much he loved him as a player. And
it's
the interception he had against Dan Marino. And it's like, we all can acknowledge he's a good person. He was an awesome football player for the Jets. But that's not enough, man. That's not enough for it to look as bad as it did in year one. And it's just tough to picture this being dramatically better in year two, even with more talent added to the roster. Because as you and I have discussed, and hopefully people will wake up to this, this wasn't just a talent only problem. Again, they started 0-7. There's more talent on the Jets than a lot of teams around the league, and they won more games than the Jets.
This is the salary cap era. Like, where do we think it's 1991 still? Like, Jimmy Johnson, for those who remember, Jimmy Johnson was not an X's and O's strategist. That was Norv Turner. That was, Wanstead. Whatever, but Wanstead's not really either. The point is, Jimmy Johnson was a recruiter. He came in 89. He flipped the roster and he said, we're going to out-talent everybody. Herschel Walker, blah, blah, blah. And that's what they did. There was no salary cap. Their roster was so much more talented than other teams in the league. Do we not understand this? Today, in the salary cap era, of course, there's going to be teams with more talent than others. It's never going to be equal. But that scale is so much closer. If you don't think it is, you're going to be fooling yourselves in terms of trying to fix the franchise. That's it. It's a religion of talent rebuild. And if you fool yourselves in that regard, you have no chance. This is a coach's league. The evidence is overwhelming week to week.
Again, Drake May was on the Patriots last year. Trevor Lawrence was on the Jaguars.
Where does Bryce Young rank in the league in terms of quarterbacks? Where does Purdy? Where does Stroud? Are we acting like these guys are superstar quarterbacks? Come on, guys. There's over 20 so-called quote-unquote franchise quarterbacks in this league. A handful of them are stone cold consistent. Allen, Mahomes, Lamar until this year, I guess. Hurts. Do we put Hurts in there? How good is Hurts even? This is the point. It's not the 80s anymore. It's not the 90s. It's not the aughts. It's not Rex's era anymore in 2009 and 2010. It's completely different. You could take not, upper third quarterbacks in the league and turn them into production guys, like where they really look good on paper. Jared Goff, I believe, is one of those guys. So you really have to change the mindset because the mindset is ground zero. And that is what has been holding the Jets back for 15 years.
It starts with, once again, hiring a head coach whose principles don't fit the modern NFL.
Yes, you have to know the rules of the game. Anyone playing Monopoly who doesn't know the rules of the game will just be lost in space. And once upon a time, the Jets knew the rules of the game, but the rules of the game changed, and they haven't looked at the damn guide to figure it out. And I think that am I going to automatically say Glenn and Muji can't succeed? No, I'll never say that. If he does soul searching, goes into a closet and goes into a dark space and figures it out, there's a chance, of course. But come on, we got to call a spade a spade. Like Woody has to look at the new rules, analyze it, and go forward, and everything will trickle down from there.
Another example we should bring up too. Good job by Thunderlip. Stafford didn't win bleep in Detroit. Goes to a good coach. Yeah, I mean, it's coaching, man.
Dude, it's overwhelming. It's not even worth talking about, honestly.
It's funny. This quote by Aaron Glenn will be among his legacy for all the wrong reasons.
Coaching. It's coaching. What do you mean? Because he can do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
And I've never seen a team get out coached like the Jets were this season, ever. Like, again, in 2020 with Gase, that was the previous worst team I've ever seen. That team was devoid of all talent.
Now,
this team has so much more talent than that team, at least the team that certainly started the year, right? It's unbelievable to me.
Now, to say this, to give some grace and be fair, there might be a part of Glenn that at some point, even in camp to a little bit, put the priority on winning just a notch below because he's trying to build it a certain way. Does that make sense? Where building it and teaching it and having that core or foundation he said so many times precedes wins this year.
But do they have that when you've already fired your defensive coordinator and you're going to have all new coaches on that side of the ball?
Correct. And I could see that and I could understand that. What I would say is that was the old rules. Those aren't the new rules. Those were the rules in the Jimmy Johnson day. Those are the rules before the last 12 to 15 years happened. These days are completely different with the slotted salary in the draft and the salary cap. It's different. It's a coaching league and the coaches drive the bus and you could change it with a snap of a finger if you know what you're doing.
End of the show today. We have our weekly raffle. Your chance to enter is on this show to win a signed not signed. It was signed Joe Namath helmet. We'll get to that. But a replica Namath Super Bowl III ring, signed Broadway Joe helmet, and the top prize here, the framed Super Bowl III game ticket. It comes in the frame, people. So you'll be getting this package sent to you, and you can hang it up in your Jet man cave. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. When you enter the raffle today, you also are qualified to win the signed Chad Pennington helmet next week, signed Darrelle Revis helmet next week, and the signed Garrett Wilson helmet all next week. Super chat from Fighter Jet will start us off, Robbie. If Tomlin is fired or resigns, I hope Tomlin steps away for a year, and then when we fire AG next year, we hire him immediately, let Tomlin draft his QB. I mean, if Tomlin were to be available now, I'd say go get him. Go get him. And again, I know he hasn't won a playoff game the last 7 times, but he maybe just needs to change the scenery the same way Andy Reid did, right? The same way that the Ravens think Harbaugh did. He's a program builder. He'll get you back on track. I would take Mike Tomlin in 1 second, no questions asked. I know it hasn't been great in the playoffs, but again, there's something to be said for having a season every year where you know you have a chance. We haven't had a chance in forever as Jet fans.
Yeah, no, it's even absurd to have to rationalize he hasn't done well recently. If it was a matter between Harbaugh and Tomlin, it's a great combo. I think I'd rather Harbaugh because Harbaugh pointing to Lamar and exchanging Flacco out for Lamar was a hell of a thing to do. And I think that puts him over the edge. He saw where the NFL was going, in other words, and that's really important to me. But yeah, I would take Tomlin in a heartbeat, Harbaugh in a heartbeat, McCarthy in a heartbeat.
Yes.
How does McCarthy not get it? It boggles my mind. It just doesn't. Did he not want to coach? I'll reserve judgment in terms of that, but I don't understand. Like, just make moves to acquire the best coach that makes sense for today's league, and make moves personnel wise to try to win games. That's all. We're outthinking ourselves time and time again. I think the Jets do the same thing.
Comments, questions, super chats. Tyrone, the first to qualify for the raffle today. He's in for 2. Jets fans like myself would have taken 10-7 in a home playoff game, even with a loss. Some fans are just jerks. Yeah, especially if
you're drunk, man. You're drunk.
Especially if it was Aaron Glenn in year 1 doing that, he'd win Coach of the Year. If Aaron Glenn won the division, yeah.
Again, the roster I laid out, that offense, what could have been. With McCarthy, Rodgers, Devontae Garrett, Brees, Braylon, Isaiah, Membu, like Mason Taylor. What are we doing here? I don't get it. And then Tenenbaum talking about not putting a Band-Aid on. What does that mean? Put a Band-Aid on it. What does that mean? It's something's being sold, but I don't know what it means. There's no tangible evidence to back up what's being sold. They just went through this tear it down process with Douglas and Saleh. Why did it not work? Everyone's going to blame Zach Wilson, the quarterback. No, it was a huge part of it. Of course, it was a huge deal, but that is not the sole reason. It's not even close to the top 5 reasons. It's a coach's league. Again, like we just have to live in reality. My God.
J-Mall, Tomlin, 0-7, last 7 playoff games, multiple blowouts. What does Tomlin do once the playoffs begin? I wonder. Again, the Jets have a 15-year playoff drought. What are we doing here? You rather have Aaron Glenn, J-Mall? He goes, what program did Tomlin build? Cowher left him a Super Bowl champion. When you have a losing year for 19 seasons in a row, I don't care if you haven't won the Super Bowl in a while or you haven't won a playoff game in a while. There's still something to be said for that. All these coaches, even the great ones, Andy Reid this year had a losing year. He's a great coach. McVay's had a losing year. He's a great coach. Shanahan, same thing. To not have one losing year is a testament to the program that you have built when you've been there for 19 years.
Yeah, listen, I'll give you the better argument. The better argument against Tomlin, I think it's ridiculous what you're saying, but here's the better argument. If you want to go around the internet and do this awesomeness, say the league has outgrown Tomlin. That's the better argument. Instead of reciting stats, say more of his success came in the Rex era, in the aughts, in terms of before the league flipped from a more balanced league into a throw the ball all over the yard, short passing efficiency where defense has a hard time stopping a nosebleed type league. That's the better argument. And if you say that, then we could have a conversation. I understand. Yet you can't put him in the basement automatically. It's like, has he struggled since the league really changed? Sure, a little bit. Not struggled. He just hasn't been dominating the way he once did. So you just gotta live in the gray area a little bit. He's still a tremendous coach.
Again, he'd have a job in 2 seconds if he was available.
2 seconds.
Darth Crypto in the raffle at the end of the show for one. Thank you, Mr. Crypto. All right, Robby, let's talk about the Dante Moore decision that's coming. He has to declare for the draft by tomorrow, so we'll know.
Is it tomorrow?
It is tomorrow. Yep. So, in your opinion, based on what you've seen from him watching his tape, should he declare for the draft? And if he does, your thoughts on him as an option at number 2 for the New York Jets?
I don't love, and I said this previously, I don't love this QB class as a whole. Like each guy scares me to some degree, and that includes Moore. It includes Mendoza. There are troubling things I see. Now, knowing that, I would still take one if I were the Jets. That's what this league has become. It's a coach's league, and you don't have to have, the most uber talented guy like a Caleb Williams or Josh Allen. And I say Caleb Williams, he hasn't arrived yet, but we see the talent. You could have an effective guy and get it done still. The evidence is all over the place. So I'd still draft one. Dante Moore, I think based on personally for him, I would come out because look at next year's class. To a large degree, I think the talk about Dante Moore being not ready is overblown. I really do.
Even with the lack of total starts.
It's something. It's definitely substantial. Like, I'm not trying to wave it away. I want a quarterback with more experience, but here's the thing that's tricky with Mendoza. Mendoza is a stud in the 3-step RPO on-time game. We see it all the time. Perfect placement. Even the back shoulder stuff. That's 3-step. That's quick and out. Like, Indiana is so well coached, so good, and Mendoza is so good in the on-time game that it's flawless. And the NFL franchises that want that type of offense, the Jets, by the way, wink, wink. I believe the Jets will be enamored with Mendoza based on Engstrand's offense, will want him, and I completely understand that. But beyond that is where the Mendoza stuff, it's a great unknown because you don't see a lot on tape in terms of stuff that is beyond the 3-step on-time game. His pocket poise, comfortability, it's a tricky thing. I'm a little worried about that. Now, I'm not dumb enough to say he's a 4th round pick. That's ridiculous. Like, his 3-step and placement and confidence is so good right now. He, of course, deserves to be where he's going right now. I just don't have him. I just don't have the narrative as Mendoza or bust. I see Simpson, Moore, Mendoza very tightly bunched together. We overreact to college football playoffs. In 2021, based on Ohio State beating Clemson, Justin Fields saved the Jets franchise that night. Let's not forget about that.
Well, also, forget even that game, right? Like, let's use this year. Julian Sayin, who everyone's saying, oh, just get him next year. Like, Julian Sayin against the same Indiana team.
He was rough, yeah.
At 10 points. And he threw 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions against Miami this year.
I love Sayin, yeah.
Right? It's like, if you can't judge a top prospect by one game, whether Moore played well or not. I'm not using that as whether or not I would draft him. Sure. I'm using the fact he hasn't started a lot of games. The more I dig into the lack of starts and how that translates to the next level and just my fear of how inept Glenn and this coaching staff is, I don't want to give them Dante Moore. I don't think they've earned that opportunity. I hope he either stays in school or what I really hope, and this is sick, but I don't trust the Jets to do the right thing, he declares and you could trade out of 2 and get someone who is willing to bet their career on Moore, and the Jets could get more picks. And let's take a chance on Simpson later in round 1 or early round 2 or Trinidad Chambliss in the same spot. And then let's go out there and get our quarterback in 27 when there's a new head coach in all likelihood that can make that call. That's my dream scenario, but I don't trust the Jets to do that. I think they'll be desperate and take Moore at 2, and they'll play him before he's ready. So that's the conundrum. Am I rooting for him to stay in school? I don't know. I mean, it's just there's a lot happening with whatever he decides to do and how that impacts the Jets, the Jets directly.
Right. Based on the unknown right now and just being uncomfortable, not completely comfortable with any of these guys, I think my default move right now is trade down, get Simpson.
Yep.
That would be my default right now. Still, there's a long way to go. Where Moore is interesting to me is despite the lack of experience, he is very, and those who watched the Indiana game are going to refute this because they saw him get sacked. They saw him fumble. They saw the pocket issues, but Indiana dominated Oregon's O-line. Like, I don't think you guys understand how much that defense dominated Oregon. But based on the whole library of tape, he's very comfortable in the pocket. He doesn't panic. He slides, he moves, and he does it while always looking downfield and always being ready to throw. That is the potential that you say, okay, Caleb Williams, what he did against the Packers, that 18-point deficit, just bailing out Ben Johnson. I mean, Ben Johnson had a great night after the first half, but bailing out his team with those ridiculous throws, that's the stuff they see with Moore that has the highest ceiling. Now, the inexperience, definitely a thing, no question. Then again, when you look at Mendoza's Cal tape, it is ugly. So how much of it is the coaching situation? We always throw out the situation way too much. The situation in terms of coaching, in terms of talent, in terms of where you're playing means so much, and we don't give it enough respect. The Mendoza Cal tape is pretty awful. Like, he wouldn't get drafted based on that. So I'm not comfortable with any of the guys. Default trade down, acquire assets, go Simpson would be my default.
Yep. Or you go Trinidad Chambliss or someone else. Because
Nussmeier. I got to look at Nussmeier. He, of all the guys beyond Chambliss, Nussmeier is the one that I really got to look at more.
Well, a year ago, he was thought to be a top 15 pick in the draft.
Yeah, Nussmeier is the guy. I got to remind myself, post-it note, check him out.
Some super chats here. Darth Crypto, thank you. You're in the raffle for 1. And then I saw he gifted a 5 spot of channel memberships. Give him a damn hug, Woody.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Thank you, Mr. Crypto. Mike Dem's in the house. What's up, Mike? He's in the raffle for 1. Eli Betts with a $20 super chat here. Give him 5 raffle tickets. Why are we entertaining Moore at 2? Why waste a premium pick on a QB who needs to sit for half the year? He might need to sit for more than that, by the way. The Jets just might rush him in before he's ready. We can get Nuss in the 4th. He's just as ready as Moore. We don't waste a premium pick. We will be bad next year. We would entertain it because Aaron Glenn is coaching for his job this year, and he's not going to be thinking about 2027 getting his quarterback when he knows he's not going to be here if they don't win games.
Yeah, I totally. Your fears are justified, by the way. Like, I don't want to blow that off.
Yes, Eli, you're spot on. We agree. I would prefer the Jets to take the 2nd pick, trade out, and not take Dante Moore because he's not a polished prospect. He needs development, and we have Charles London as our quarterback coach still right now.
Yeah, by the way, like, try to understand when I'm talking about what I see from these guys, I'm not thinking about Glenn. I'm not thinking about the Jets situation. So, Jake, I heard you previous shows, completely justified. I understand where you're coming from with Mendoza as opposed to Moore and all that stuff. But yeah, I get it. Like, I think it comes down to this. If you don't have the right coaching and the right mindset and vision from the top, it doesn't matter who you draft. Right? Like, let's be real.
Mendoza would struggle in year 1 with the Jets too.
Oh God. I can't. Like, now listen, there's a situation. He fits, and this is the problem. When you say he fits Engstrand, and what we saw this past year, yeah, he does. But Engstrand can't be in that box. Like, for Engstrand to be a stud, he can't be in that box. The Ben Johnson offense in Chicago is completely different from what we saw in Detroit. Do people realize that? It is so different. It is so foreign. It is insane. So does he fit what we saw this past year? Yeah, because it's a Fields 3-step RPO, quick timing offense. But that doesn't mean Engstrand should roll with that in 2026. And Glenn should keep rolling with we're the rushing team, and you guys are the heart and soul. That's not. You want to have a great rushing squad, but you can't have it by jamming it down the throats of your personnel and the entire league. It doesn't work that way.
We're going to do more film review with Joe Blewett today during the second show, folks. We will review Mendoza and Moore's performances in the playoff and continue to talk to Joe about these quarterbacks and whether or not, if he were the Jets, he would take Dante Moore if he declares 2nd overall. Mad Team Parents writes in, where are the firings on the offensive staff? Still nothing at this point. I did want to highlight something that happened yesterday, though. This is the type of hire that Aaron Glenn, if he wants to try and save his job, he needs to make. So the Commanders hired David Blau, former QB, as their OC. And one of the
Packers?
first...
Who do you play for, the Packers?
He was with the Lions. So he was a backup quarterback, not very good, but whatever. Obviously, bright guy. Coaching's in his future. He's now one of the youngest OCs you'll ever see. But one of the first things they did is they requested to interview Panthers assistant QB coach Mike Vercochi to be the quarterback coach on David Blau's staff. Now, Mike Bercovici, hopefully I'm saying his name properly, He's a former quarterback. He's only 32, so he's young. He's an offensive guy. He's like an up-and-coming guy. He gets a lot of credit for some of Bryce Young's development based on some of the reports coming out of Carolina. He also worked with Jaden Daniels at Arizona State on Herm Edwards' staff in 2019. Like, that's the type of, like, innovative offensive assistant hire that Aaron Glenn needs to be thinking about, right? Like, you're not going to be able to get a Brian Dable to be a quarterback coach if you're keeping Tanner Engstrand, but this guy who's an assistant QB coach, who's worked with some good quarterbacks, is thought to be highly regarded, and David Blau is reaching out to make him go from assistant quarterback coach to be his quarterback coach. So it would be, a promotion, which is why they can't deny the interview request. It wouldn't be a lateral move. Like, that's the type of creative hire that I think Aaron Glenn needs to make, and why I don't trust him to make those hires based on what this staff looked like in year one. I don't know if he has those contacts around the league.
Yeah, it completely justified. And again, it's the mindset. You got to shift it from heavy rushing team to quarterback efficiency.
Like, shouldn't a former quarterback be the quarterback coach for the Jets this year?
You think so? Yeah, that would be ideal in a league where quarterback efficiency drives the whole bus, the whole game plan. That would be ideal. And by the way, when I say that, that doesn't mean, they don't have a quarterback. No, if quarterback efficiency drove the bus for the Jets, Fields would have played a lot better this year. Point blank, period. But they had week one. They competed. Week two, stuff was on tape. Buffalo, McDermott said, oh my God, if they do the same thing, we're just going to guess right on every play. That's exactly what happened. They guessed the tendency right on every play because the Jets want to force their will, impose their will, and rush the ball in certain situations where the defense could feel comfortable that it's coming, and they're not gonna feel like the quarterback's gonna beat them over the top. If you switch it from heavy rushing team to QB efficiency, guess what? That gives your offense even a better chance to run the ball. So we'll know with the coaching. Does he make additions? Does he make changes? It's interesting that they haven't done anything yet. It really is.
We'll see. And right now we only have one DC interview request. The guy on Brian Flores' defensive staff in Minnesota. Yeah. So he's been the only one so far. OK9620 is in the raffle for 2 with this $10 super chat. Appreciate everyone being tuned in right now. Click that like button. We have 600 people watching live and only 133 likes. Let's get those milk thumbs, as Green Bean would say, and hit the thumbs up button. Best case scenario is we trade down to 3 for Kyler. He does good, then good. If not, I don't know what that means. He does good, then good. If not, we enter 2027. And if the QB class is good, then we get our guy with actual competent coaching staff, hopefully. I don't love the idea of doing that to acquire Kyler. But if the Cardinals were going to give me a lot and I had to take Kyler on, then I would consider it. Like, if they gave me their 1 next year, for example, I'll absorb Kyler's contract for a year and I'd make that deal. That's the real thing, though. I do think Kyler's a real option for the Jets. I think it'd be a terrible fit with Aaron Glenn, though. I do. But I think they're going to be desperate to try and win, and he might be the best QB option that's available. I don't know if they want to put all their eggs in the Malik Willis basket. They need someone who is capable, who could hold the fort and win games. They will not survive a 5-12 season next year. Kyler might be the best of what is not a great situation if you just look at the options.
Yeah, I get it. I get the fear that may happen. But I would say this, Kyler doesn't really, in terms of what they did last year, Kyler doesn't fit what they want to do. The quick timing stuff. I view Kyler more as a try to make something happen in a broken pocket situation type guy. That's where he really, makes the difference in a game. And I'm not saying he can't do the 3-step on time thing. I'm just saying he's not elite in that area. So in terms of desperation, I get it. But in terms of fit, I don't see it happening, to be honest.
Super chat from Jack. The worst thing about this franchise that they actually listen to us who don't work for the team. We would have been more successful. That's a fact. Connor Rogers always brings this up. If you allowed Jet fans just to draft based on the consensus board over the last decade, the team would be much better off. Like, again, if the Jet fan just used whatever the consensus big board is, right? All the draft guys that put together rankings, it's power ranked, combined all together to form the consensus big board. If that was the reference that we used to just draft players over the last decade, even going back, let's say 15 years during this playoff drought, the New York Jets would be better off. And that is undisputable when you look at it.
I'm down with that. The draft, the players, but not the coaches. Keep the fans away. It's because it's like hiring a former Jet it gets fans so jacked up, and I get why. Listen, I was a kid watching Glenn. I watched Glenn's whole career. Loved him. Like, I remember being at Long Beach Island watching his first preseason game, muffing those punts. I wasn't devastated. It was a preseason game, but still, I remember it. I don't forget those moments. And the other thing is, like, you could say hiring a former Jet, it's convoluted 100%. Does it offer more positives or negatives? What positive comes from hiring a former Jet? Like, tangibly speaking, I know the negatives. It convolutes things, and when they fail and have hard times, it's tougher to gauge it and tougher to move on because you want to cling to that hope and that narrative and that hero comes home type story.
Dude, if he was not a former Jet, he's fired.
I get it.
He's fired. He's gone. Robert Kraft showed balls firing Mayo, but he also knew he had Vrabel. Like, the fact of the matter is, if Aaron Glenn played for the Denver Broncos and had the exact same playing career, he would not have a job as the head coach of the Jets after this past year. I'm not saying he couldn't have been the head coach. Like, Glenn was considered to be a legitimate candidate last hiring cycle. But say he got this job, never played for the Jets, was a Texan and Denver Bronco his whole career, he would have been fired after this year. If this was Adam Gase, who just had the first year that Glenn had, he would have been fired too. Gase actually won 7 games after a 1-7 start his first year, and he was a terrible head coach.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I'm down. Let the consensus fan big board for the draft happen, just not coaches. Okay, keep the fans with the coaches.
What do we have here? Gator in the house. After Mendoza, who's the other quarterback in this draft that can start in September? Imagine Manning declaring today who would drop to us.
I think they all can. It has to be the right system. It has to be the right situation. It has to be the right coaching that has the foresight to tailor it in a QB efficient way around their strengths. Now, the variables are so many, obviously. Like Shuck in New Orleans. Anyone who said he'd be in this position right now before the draft last year would have been hung on the wall and left to dry. Does everyone think he couldn't have done it from week 1? Of course he could have. Kellen Moore knows what he's doing. So all of them can.
This one is from Bino. He says, I hope McCarthy doesn't get hired anywhere. It means he's available when this clown is fired in about 10 months. Well, then he's 2 years removed from coaching, though. That's the thing. It's like this really would have been the time to hire Mike McCarthy right now. I mean, next year, maybe there's some more good coaches available. Tomlin leaves the Steelers, goes to TV for a year. Maybe he's an option for the Jets. I think the name to watch. Yeah. I think the name to watch is Kevin O'Connell.
Yes, I heard this from you. And that is.
Well, think about it.
It makes sense, dude. Yeah.
The Vikings have not won a playoff game since he's been there. He will get egg on his face for the McCarthy pick because they had Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones in their building. Let both go, obviously. He was Darren Muji's college roommate. He's a former Jet for all the, we need a former Jet. Yeah. All right. He's an offensive guy. I would hire him in 2 seconds if he's available a year from now.
Dude, sign me up. Like, I'll take O'Connell. And so now Jets fans have to root for Minnesota to fail, but watch McCarthy win the MVP next year. Like, I don't rule that out. Listen, McCarthy had a bad year. He doesn't look great. He's indecisive. He's got sort of that Zach Wilson feel where the mind is taking over the free-flowing play. Like, he's afraid to make a mistake. He's concerned about what he's seeing. He's doubting himself. I think it's more about psychiatry with McCarthy. And if O'Connell can unlock that somehow, maybe he could have some success. But yeah, that's the best plan I've heard all year, Jake, from you.
He did a really good job. I want to give Will Parkinson credit for first bringing up the fact Muji and Glenn or Muji and O'Connell were college roommates. I forgot about that. I remember we talked about that when they first hired him, but now I was thinking about it. That makes total sense. Again, ownership knows who Kevin O'Connell is. If he's available, he's an offensive guy. They'd be comfortable with him. And I think he would take the job because he does know Woody. And, obviously he could bring McCown with him too as the OC in that scenario too.
Yep. And, you got picks. You got plenty of picks still.
100%. I think it's a no-brainer. I know you got to run, Robby, so let me see if I can squeeze in a couple more with you.
Yeah, 5 more minutes.
Let's do Lou B. Do you know who Daquan Wright, the tight end at Ole Miss, is as a prospect yet?
I haven't watched him.
Lou, we will get to this at some point. Ask again.
Yeah,
Maybe Joe Below it knows. I haven't. The only stuff I started to watch was quarterbacks and some of the receivers. That's
correct.
it.
I've only done quarterbacks. I'll probably do receivers next after quarterbacks, but I gotta do more on the previous years for Mendoza, Moore, and Simpson. Well, mostly Mendoza because he has the experience.
Let's see. Tank for Ty says, what percentage chance is Ty a franchise QB? Would you feel comfortable drafting him second overall if you believe he's a franchise guy? You draft him.
Sure. I mean, if you believe in it 100%, you draft him, but it depends where the mock is. Like if you're glued into the league, this is where the GMs in the front offices make their hay. Like if you know he's not going to get drafted in the top 10, then find a trade partner, trade down, and make it happen, and make it worth your while. It's all about situation. It's all about scenario. It's all about the plan and the mindset from above in terms of how well these quarterbacks do. It's not that black and white where it's all about that. Of course, talent matters. Of course, you have to have a guy with ability, but it begins there. It begins with the coaching and the vision.
Do we read that one? I think we don't want to make sure I didn't miss anything. This one's from Jesse. AD. What am I talking about? AD83. Thank you, AD. You're on the raffle for 5 with us. If Moore declines the draft, who is the shuck dart type that'd be under the radar we could target? What do you think about Carson Beck? He has that winner gene like Jalen Hurts. By the way, who we taking with our 2nd and 3rd picks? AD, I can't answer any of these questions right now because there's too much unknown, right? Like, there's too much unknown. Who they're going to take with the Colts pick and their 2nd round picks. Like, we have no idea at this point. We got to see what free agency looks like. I can tell you this. I think their plan is to take a quarterback at 2 if Moore is there. I just don't think this regime is going to pass up taking Dante Moore and do what I think would be the practical thing. Don't take a developmental guy when your jobs are on the line. Don't reach. Trade out and get more assets. But that's my feel on it. I don't trust the Jets to do the right thing. So until I see it, I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt anymore. I'm done with that. As far as the shuck dart type, I mean, maybe it is Ty Simpson or Trinidad Chambliss, one of them.
I think you're right. That's the odds-on best possible thing that'll happen, but let's not put it past them. Like last year, they could have had Dart, they could have had Chuck, they could have had Rodgers. They decided to go with Justin Fields, who, I understand the vision in terms of a rushing offense, but he is one of the more inefficient quarterbacks with a longer release who stares down concepts that there is in the league. And that just doesn't jibe with Engstrand, his offense, what we saw this year. So they went with the experienced guy last year. I guess you can call it experience, who was in the league instead of going with a youngster. Would you be absolutely stunned if Glenn kicked it down the road a little bit and just took like a Nussmeier or something?
I mean, that to me would be practical.
I don't know. We'll see. So to answer his question, Beck, I don't hate Beck. I just think I like other guys a lot better.
I feel like Beck's physical traits are a bit limited, especially when he tries to throw downfield.
Yeah. The intermediate, outside the numbers, I don't know yet. I think I like Nussmeier a little more. Chambliss, I don't even want to comment on Chambliss yet. He's confusing to me right now. I got to watch a lot more on Chambliss.
Mr. Sabo, we will let you run. I appreciate you hopping on with us as always.
You got it. Hang in there, everybody. We'll talk soon.
Jets X Factor Zone, Robby Sabo. Read the site. I read it every day. Download the mobile app. It's great. So check that out. Jesus Jerry wants to know, who is this year's Knoble? Do we have a name yet? That's up for Lane Train to decide. We're very early in the pre-draft process, folks. I mean, the Jets haven't even fired their defensive staff and made changes to the offensive staff yet. Very early here. Jesse says, good morning. Nice to see your beautiful faces. Good morning, Jesse. Welcome aboard. Raffle at the end of the show today, for those tuning in late, giving away this frame Super Bowl III game ticket, Joe Namath signed helmet, and a Joe Namath replica ring. 5 entries on the way here from Mad Team. He gifted the community 5 channel memberships. Let's freaking go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mad Team, thank you. If you got a membership, make sure you thank him. Tom Roseman just gifted the community a channel membership. Let's go.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Thank you very much, Tom. I got you in the Asmaniac raffle. JD says, don't waste time on Chambliss unless he loses the lawsuit. He's trying to go back to school to get more starts because he knows he could be a top 15 pick if he replicates the year he just had with another year in the SEC. He started 28 games, I believe, in his career, but some of it's at Division II Ferris State, where he dominated. But again, is he a first-round guy? I heard Mel Kiper say on the radio today on ESPN New York he thinks he'll go in the first round. That feels early for me, but we know these guys get overdrafted, so I don't know. Maybe he's end of the first round, Jets trade back in, right? They have the 33rd pick to use. Josh says, you missed my super chat from Earrings Let in Show. I don't know what that means, Josh. I'm trying to find your first super chat here. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see your first super chat. I don't know if you have one. Oh, here we go. You're right, Josh. My fault. I'm just seeing this. The super chats are having a tough time loading today, so let me just double check, make sure we got to everyone. Here we go. Josh's super chat. With all the Brees drama, how would you feel about Rico Dowell? He wants to be a bell cow somewhere. Pairing him with Allen and Davis could be nice. Well, I mean, look, if they let Brees go, you got to replace him, right? Is Travis Etienne an option for the Jets too in this scenario? I'm open to that. I don't want to spend a ton on a running back, though, personally. I'd rather just keep Brees. Why create another hole? Mike Perez in the raffle for 2. Thank you, Mike. Saw a disturbing post. Pats have gone to 5 Super Bowls, won 3, lost Tom Brady, drafted a bust in Mac Jones, rebuilt the team, drafted another quarterback, and won a playoff game, all since our last playoff appearance. Disgusted. Best fans ever. No fan base has it worse than the Jet fans. Don't even have our own stadium. There's not a worse investment in sports than being a Jet fan. No fan gets a worse return on investment than the Jet fan. And I saw that same post that was circulating too. The Bleacher Report put it out there because, of course, they love to shit on the Jets. But let's keep a 3-14 coach. I mean, that again, the Jets do it to themselves. Dylan Terrelman in the house. Biggest difference from Glenn versus Vrabel is the in-game knowledge and situational awareness. Vrabel has it. AG has not shown it because he doesn't do it. Aaron Glenn said it's not about the X's and O's. Said we're running the Wilkes defense. Mike Vrabel, I can tell you for a fact, is intimately involved in game strategy and adjustments. Talk to anyone who covers the Patriots. When we were talking about Vrabel a year ago, we had people on who covered the Titans who talked about Mike Vrabel. I knew him when I was in Houston. He was the defensive coordinator under Bill O'Brien. And people raved about him there. Mike Perez, I did miss your super chat. I'm glad I was able to get to it. Jack says we must draft dudes who are ready to be impactful. This regime lost all credibility that players can be coached up. Well, that's a problem because you're never going to win. Right? You can't just draft talent and expect talent to come in and be great right away. They got to be coached. No one got better on this team. No one was coached on this team.
Coaching. It's coaching. What do you mean? Because he can do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
It's unbelievable. Lou B says, we'll know about 24 hours about more. Trinidad, pending lawsuit. Yeah, Trinidad, I don't know how long that's going to take because he's appealing the NCAA decision. As far as more, I mean, we'll know about tomorrow. Maybe we know about today. I mean, why not announce your decision today if you know it? Comments, questions, super chats. Here's what we're going to do. Want to play something that has been viral so more people can see it because I'm curious where the opinions are of this fan base. Mike Tannenbaum continues to argue that Aaron Glenn has this big plan, and I think it's all BS. Your thoughts on this discussion from my radio show on Sunday, and then let's get into some of your phone calls on the state of the Jets, Dante Moore, and everything we've discussed with Robby Sabo in this edition of the show. Back right after this.
Is, Jake, if Duke Rodney and Bill Walsh were calling plays towards the end of the season with who they had left, like, I don't think the outcome would have been different. But more fundamentally, I don't think it matters because it wasn't about this year. It was about establishing a program and putting together a good long-term plan.
Mike, there's no way you actually believe that, do you?
What, that they have a long-term plan?
They changed their plan a bunch of times. They said they were trying to win this year. They signed Justin Fields and gave him $30 million, and Aaron Glenn said he's going to be our guy. He's never been coached up properly. I mean, they started 0-7. When you say they tear it down to the studs, they made 2 notable trades, and their defense sucked with those guys anyway. He fired Wilkes. That was a disaster hire in the first place. I mean, if they weren't trying to win at the end of the year, why did you get rid of them?
You know what, Jake? You know what good organizations do? You know what smart people do? They react and they take advantage of opportunities. That's what Apple does, Amazon does, NVIDIA does. That's what good companies and organizations do.
Right, but should it look that bad? That's the point.
Wait, let me finish. Let me finish.
Bad.
So when the Jets take advantage of an opportunity that they see and make great trades for the long-term future, why don't you go by the facts and look at it and say, that's really smart. That's really thoughtful. So, no, they weren't going to win the Super Bowl this year, and they are in a much better position for the future today than they've been in a long, long time, and they didn't put a Band-Aid on it. And when you sign Justin Fields, context is everything here. You could keep saying $30 million till you're blue in the face, but the facts are, if we were running a team, what I would be telling you is, of course you're going to bring in players. Obviously, every team does. But you don't want to hurt your long-term flexibility the way the Falcons did with Kirk Cousins, the way the Dolphins did with Tua. Yeah, did Justin Fields work out? Of course it didn't, Jake. And you could scream every single time, $30 million, $30 million. It doesn't stop what they want to do. And that's why context, when you talk about things, is really important, because what they have is flexibility and a tremendous opportunity to improve this roster in a very short amount of time. And that's the facts. Regardless of what you say, that's the truth, and that's the unbiased fact. They have cap room, they have draft choices, and they have flexibility that their competition doesn't have.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you say your piece.
And by the way, I'll tell you this. I have talked to other owners face-to-face who are envious of the Jets' position.
Mike, here's the thing, though. A couple things can be true. Darren Muji might have a good plan, and they have all these resources, but it won't matter if your head coach is this bad and doesn't improve. Because, again, like you said at the beginning of the year, if the Jets in December could beat the Jets in September, that'd be real progress. And they couldn't.
Right.
And there's no evidence that Aaron Glenn is a good coach. There's nothing he did well this year as a head coach. He brought up that they didn't have any field goals that were blocked. No, don't interrupt me after you made you tried to mock me to Jordan that I interrupted you, which I did no such thing. I let you lay out your point. Let me lay out mine. Couple things here. Over the last 25 years, because you're a data guy, from 2001 to 2025, there have been 29 first-time NFL head coaches who won 4 or fewer games in their debut season. Glenn's now part of that group. Only 2 of the 28 ever went on to win 1 playoff game or more in their careers. One of them is Zach Taylor, who has Joe Burrow, and the other is Dan Campbell, who had Ben Johnson and former number 1 pick in the draft in Jared Goff. If you look at the numbers this year, how they played at the end, which is why Woody was reportedly pissed with how they finished, they became the first team ever to lose 5 straight games by 23 or more points. They're the first team ever since this stat was being tracked to not have an interception in a single season. The quarterback decisions, disaster. Coaching staff hires, Steve Wilkes, Charles London. We have no idea about Tanner Engstrand. Disasters at this point. They went 0-6 against the AFC East, outscored by 20 points per game. It's the second worst point differential in the current division format, besides the 2009 Rams, who won 1 game. If you remove special teams and just go by DVOA, combined offense and defense, this is the 3rd worst team since 1978 when they started keeping track of those stats. Glenn said the last 4 minutes of each half belonged to the head coach. They were a disaster in those scenarios. There was 0 player development. You can't name 1 player that improved on this team on defense besides Sherwan Briggs. He said it was going to be all about coaching. He hyped up Will McDonald and his ability to coach him up and the rest of the other players. They had 8 of their 11 starters back from last year. He didn't know how long the game-winning field goal yardage was against the Broncos. When they started 0-7, they were trying to win. And when you tell me they tear it down to the studs, they traded 2 players who were having bad years and then immediately left, and Quinton Williams became an all-pro once again. And so, yeah, they have picks. Yeah, they have cap space. But most franchises would have fired Aaron Glenn immediately after the year. The Jets didn't, and Aaron Glenn enters year 2 on the hot seat. He's got to win games. I don't care about this long-term plan. It's enough. Look at all these coaches that are immediately having success. Aaron Glenn was not bad in year 1, Mike. You need to understand this. He was historically bad. So I don't need to sit here and try and gaslight me that this is all part of the plan. It's all going to work.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me finish. I let you finish.
Wait,
so when you try and tell me that this is all going to work out, that's based on nothing.
Yeah, based on Aaron Glenn's background and track record, tell me where in his biography over the last 20 years he hasn't improved.
He's not a head coach. I don't care what he does as an assistant coach or as a coordinator. That's not a head coach. It's a totally
that's-
different job.
Yeah, Jake. Yeah, I couldn't disagree with you more because I've been around coaches my whole professional career, and they will tell you how hard the job is, and they'll tell you how much better they got. And I believe in Aaron Glenn. They had a bad year. You have all the stats. What I'm telling you is they have a plan. They're going to try to execute it. They'll be better, and we'll see how it goes. It doesn't matter 3 wins, 4 wins, 5 wins. Like, that's the part where you and I just totally disagree.
Mike, you told me that we'd see progress throughout the year. We were giving Glenn credit when they won the 3 out of 5 after the 0-7 start. The reality is they have 3 wins against backup quarterbacks this year. They started with a 7-game losing streak. They beat 3 backup quarterbacks, and then they ended the year breaking an NFL record for losing 23 or more points 5 straight weeks. I can't sit here and just be positive just because they have draft picks and cap space. Not with the head coach.
I'm being honest and sober about it. I'm saying the right thing to do is exactly what they're doing. That's being honest and sober. And in terms of the stats, no, it wasn't good enough this year. But that's not what he was hired to do. He was hired to put a good long-term team and plan in place. And we could disagree all we want, but they have good young players. You could ignore that, and that's fine. But I think, hope, and expect it will be a better team next year than it was this year.
It better be. They went 3-14. They made no progress this year. They traded good players for draft picks. That's it. They took a team that never should have been 0-7 and blew it up. And by blowing it up, they traded 2 players. They have good young players. Yeah, Glenn inherited the vast majority of them. Who are the good young players that Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji added to this team? Armand Membu? That's it. Good young players. Am I missing anyone? That's what's so annoying. The good young players were here. Glenn inherited it. Then they traded 2 of them. There was no progress made this year. I don't care what plan they have. They don't have a head coach. You can't come in talking the way Glenn did and then say, well, I was a rookie. What do you expect, man? I was learning on the job. Whoa.
And let me answer that also. As a rookie head coach and same thing as a GM, man, going through the first year and really understanding the landscape of everything, like that's a huge deal. You know, I will tell you that right now. And speaking of myself, man, there's a number of things I know that I'll be better at. And again, I'm still doing self-reflection, but I know for a fact there are a number of things. And the confidence that I have in Mooj, the confidence I have in our owner, the confidence I have in myself, the confidence I have in some of the foundational players that we have, that's where the confidence really comes from, you know, if that makes sense. And there is a clear vision. There's a clear plan on how we want to go about doing things. And you match that with Mooj, with our owner, the confidence.
I'm done listening to that. Suck it off of Woody twice in the same minute 14 answer there. Give me a break.
You know, thinking is overrated.
That's the only guy that buys into this plan that Aaron Glenn knows what he's doing. It's a joke. Hey, here's the signed helmet, by the way, the Joe Namath helmet that will raffle away at the end of today's show if you want it. So make sure you enter. While I was taking a Renzel, as we referred to it around here, we got some new additions to the raffle. Tom Roseman gifted 5 channel memberships. Thank you, Tom.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Matt L. re-upped his channel membership. He is now in the raffle again for another.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
By the way, tune in every Sunday to Mike T and I on the radio from 8 to noon. You'll hear more of what you just heard us play on the show. By the way, Bailey Zappi's a Jet. We have our guy. We have our franchise quarterback. Probably should have led the show getting Robby Sable's assessment on that. All right. The link is pinned. If you want to call into the show, now is the time. Super chats will continue to cut the line. They should be loading properly now, so we should be all set in that regard. On that note, let's get to some of your outstanding calls, and we say hello first up today to a man who points.
He's pointing. Garrett Box point at you. Garrett Box point at you. Garrett Box. I'm pointing. I'm pointing. Box 3. I'm pointing. I'm pointing. Garrett Box point at you. I point.
First, Jake, I want to give you credit for that. You handled Tannenbaum pretty well. I don't think debate is the best part of your repertoire, but you wrecked him. Like you
That's
owned
rich.
him.
That's rich coming from you. But continue.
Debating is my thing, right? Like it's my thing. I'm being serious. I think you handled him really, really well. He has to be at a point where it's just we hired Glenn for X, Y, and Z reason. It did not look good year one. I still believe him, and then concede the rest of the debate to you. I understand all the stats are going to look bad. I get it, but we drafted him. We signed him for these reasons, and we're sticking with him. Like he can't. There's no really other argument for him, right? Like if he tries to go through the data and the statistics, he's going to get wrecked because it was horrible. It was historically, epically horrendous this year. So he's got to just say, I believe in people, not in numbers. This is why we signed him. This is why we picked him, and this is why he's going to work out. And if I'm wrong, I'll pay for it with my career, right? Like that's really his only argument at this point because there's no data that's going to support him at this point.
Well, he's not even really going to pay for it either. Like he still has his job
Well,
on TV and radio responsibilities. Yeah. Like the only thing that will hurt him is there's 8 head coaching openings this year, and the 33rd team is not helping any franchise find their next coach. If Glenn was successful in year one, the 33rd team would be getting phone calls. Hey, can you help us find our coach?
Right. That's what I meant by pay for it with my career. If Glenn doesn't get better, no one's going to use the 33rd team anymore. Like that's not going to be a thing, right? Like no one's going to call you up when your first suggestion was Aaron. Like if you hire a stockbroker and a stockbroker gets you a stock that goes down 80% overnight, you're not going to call that stockbroker again, right? Like that was my point about Glenn. But I thought you handled that really, really well. So I want to give you credit for that. And I want to talk to Sabo because I thought Sabo did really, really good. But I want to ask you a question first. Would you make this trade, the second overall pick to the Steelers for Mike Tomlin?
Yes.
I would make it all day. 9 out of 9 times.
In 2 seconds.
9 out of 9.
That's it. It's just the number 2 pick.
Number 2 pick for Tomlin.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. I still have the Colts pick, and I have 2 other picks on the top. I have the 33rd pick. I have whatever the Cowboy pick is. I forget off the top of my head. And I have 3 ones in 2027. 100%.
I feel like the Steelers would make that in a second too. Like I mean, I don't know how you go about that. I know it can be done, but like I who's going to impact this organization more, Dante Moore or Mike Tomlin?
Do you remember last year when I said I would trade pick 7 for Tomlin and people got mad? Like V-Man flipped out and other people?
Vaguely. Yeah. Okay. I think so. I would.
He's never had a losing year. The Jets haven't won more than 7 games in 10 years. We got to get above ground. He could get us there.
No, I'm with you. He gets you out of hell immediately.
Immediately. Look at Harbaugh. Look at the demand for Harbaugh. It would be the same thing.
The thing, Bobby Sabo's really good. I wanted to talk to him because he's starting to change my mind a little bit. Not that I'm changing my mind on Mendoza. I still think he's very, very limited. I think he's an RPO college quarterback. But Robby makes a fair point. Well, that's the system. Doesn't matter if he's that good. He's going to play within the system, and you can win within the system. My only pushback on that is, what if the system doesn't work this year? Then everyone's fired. If you draft him, it better work. I understand what Robby is saying. He fits what we're looking to do. So whether or not he's some great quarterback is irrelevant. We can make him look good in the system. It's a fair argument. You know, when I'm scouting fighters, I ask myself one question: can I disqualify him? Do I see anything that I can disqualify him off the bat? With Mendoza, it's a little.
Hold on, I'm getting annoyed by the comments here. Like the Spencer Greens of the world, who's the biggest Aaron Glenn bootlicker in this chat. Steelers have won as many playoff games as the Jets. Are you trying to act like the Steelers and the Jets are comparable in any way? Really, Spencer? The Jets have not won more than 7 games in 10 years. You know, it would be nice to have a real season that matters, to get into the playoffs and at least have a chance. I get it. Maybe it's time for a change in Pittsburgh because he's been there forever. The same reasons Andy Reid left Philly. And eventually Belichick got fired. And you look at what just happened with Harbaugh getting fired. Like, okay, that happens. But I'm seeing comments from Jet fans here who are acting like hiring Mike Tomlin would be a crazy take. Dylan Terrelman nailed it with this comment. Who are we as Jet fans to poo-poo a guy like Tomlin? I don't understand the thought process. Curly Norman. But Jake, Tomlin only wins the division almost every year. Like, oh my God. You got to be insane if you would have consider Mike Tomlin for the second pick in the draft, in a draft where there's no obvious quarterback you have to take in the first place.
Look, I love the arrogance. Like, he only wins division titles, and Kobe Bryant has the famous saying, "We don't hang division title banners around here." Okay, we're the Jets. We have 2 division titles ever since the AFL NFL merger, right? Like, let's just baby steps here. Like, if we could go 9-7 or 10-7 every year for the next 3 years, that's a massive step forward. Like, we'll address the problem once we get there. We had a historically bad season where we went 3-14. Like, guys, like, Rome wasn't built in a day. Like, we need to get out of hell first. Like, we've been stuck in hell for a long time. Like, we need to get out of there first. Like, we need to start walking back into the light. The day we hire Tomlin, or the day we traded for Tomlin in my scenario, is the day that we take our first step out of hell.
Jets shot it. You bugging trading a 2 for top. Why? Who am I taking a 2 that's going to be more impactful than a great head coach who could get us out of hell?
Who's going to impact the team more, Dante Moore or Mike Tomlin? Like,
how are we competing in a division with Drake May and Josh Allen unless we have a great coach that will give us a chance? The same way Tomlin was able to give them a chance when he was facing Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow in the division for years with pea shooters at quarterback and Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett and other guys who aren't good, and 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Like, give me that guy, man. Seriously. The fact that people are like, no, but Dante Moore, who's going to be the next Zach Wilson, maybe, or maybe he's going to, we have no idea. I know what Tomlin is. Like, what are we doing? I still would have the pick too. I still would have the.
How old is? Let me get you. How old is Josh Allen? He's like 29. I think that's what he is.
Sounds right.
So for the next 5 years at least, we're going to have to compete with a peak Josh Allen and a peak Drake May. I mean, having Mike Tomlin might help there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is going to be a tough division because of those 2 quarterbacks. The Patriots and the Bills are going to be pretty good for the foreseeable future just on their quarterbacks alone. And we're going to have to compete in that division. Like, I don't know, having a head coach like Mike Tomlin.
Dude, he went 4-2 with Justin Fields. He went 4-2 with the guy that was the worst quarterback we've seen.
Ever. Yeah.
He went 4-2 with that guy. Like, what are we doing? And the Jets' offensive line, as Gator brings up, is better than the Steelers' O-line. Tomlin can actually do more with this. He'd fix the defense overnight, hire a good staff, then have to figure out quarterback. It'd be a real thing. But again, you have 3 wins in 2027 to get it right then. You need a placeholder for a year.
Do you think if we went 10-7, hypothetically, next year with Tomlin, and the Bills went 11-6 and the Patriots went 12-5, right? And we came in 3rd place. You think they'd complain about going 10-7? I'm being serious. Like, we came in 3rd place. Like, okay, the division's good. Like, that division is going to be really good for the foreseeable future. We're going to have to compete in it. I feel a lot more comfortable with Mike Tomlin than Aaron Glenn. I'm just saying. But my Mendoza point was, like, maybe I'm with Robby's point where it doesn't matter if he's that good. It just matters if he's good within the system. And maybe I'm asking the wrong question. Like, my question for a quarterback, the same question I asked for a fighter. Can I disqualify him? Is there anything I see off the bat that tells me he can't do this? There's not really that thing with Mendoza. It's a little more nuanced. I like, it's all quick timing routes, like he said. It's all RPO heavy. I don't really think it's a pro offense, but that's the offense that we run. So it could work. I don't know. I don't love Mendoza at all, but
I don't think they're going to be able to get him, though.
Yeah,
the Raiders are going to take him first overall.
If you're Mendoza and Dante Moore, are you looking at the top of the draft, the Jets and the Raiders being, oh, I shouldn't have done this. Moore hasn't declared yet. It's more looking at the Jets and the Raiders being like, I'm going to chill on this. Like, I can't go to these 2 organizations.
I think it's more the Jets than the Raiders, given what the perception of the Jets is. I also think more smart. Like, he knows he probably needs another year of development. He said in this post-game press conference, I need more reps. Like, that's an admission. Yeah. You probably should stay in school, but money's money. I don't fault him if he declares and he can get $60 million guaranteed. I would do that too.
That's my thing. Like, I think he should go back too for the betterment of his career, for the betterment of his pocket. You go to the NFL draft, you're generationally rich on day one. Like, you're generational. I know he's going to make $3, $4, $5 million in NIL money. I got it. That ain't $60 million. That ain't life-changing, life-altering money for the rest of your life, where if everything goes wrong, you never have to work again. And that's where he'll be if he goes in the draft. So if he was my kid, if I was his father, I would tell him, you know what? He's probably going to draft. Like, it's $60 million. You're going to be a top 2 pick in the draft. What more could you really ask for? Just go to the draft.
I think he declares because, again, I just don't picture Dylan Raiola transferring there to be a backup. That doesn't strike me as something he would do.
Well, Moore transferred there to be a backup the year before.
That's rare, though. But Raiola had more success in college than Moore did at UCLA on a bad Bruins team.
UCLA was bad. But I remember him not being that bad at UCLA. And he didn't play a ton, if I remember.
I think he started 3 games at UCLA.
Is that all he started? Okay.
It wasn't a lot.
I remember playing a little bit. Yeah. Remember his name and stuff. But Mendoza, like Robby said, Mendoza's tape at Cal doesn't look great. Like, I didn't watch a ton of Cal football. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I knew his name. To me, Mendoza's a system guy, but if we got him, he's going into that system. He's going into a system which he would thrive in. So I don't love the pick. I don't love Mendoza, but I mean, could it work? Bo Nix, who I think is god awful. I think Bo Nix is worse than Caleb Williams. It's working in Denver.
It's coaching, man.
Yeah.
Coaching.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah. It's what it is.
Don't worry. We got the right guy. He'll tell you.
Coaching. It's coaching.
What do you mean?
Because he can do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
That's all it is. Well, what's funny is Glenn is spot on. The problem is he's dog crap at his job, and the staff is not any better.
It's nothing. Chambliss, don't say that. Tell Teddy, you do not want. I understand Trinidad Chambliss looked awesome in 2 college games. He's a college quarterback. He doesn't have NFL ability. No Trinidad Chambliss. No Trinidad Chambliss. You want Trinidad Chambliss day 3. He's a day 3 quarterback. No.
Kuiper said he's going to go in the first round today. I heard him say it on the radio.
Wild. This is like Zach Wilson and Blake Bortles and all these guys like shooting up the charts. Like it doesn't work. Trinidad Chambliss is.
I wouldn't take him at 2. The earliest I would take Trinidad Chambliss is pick 33.
I can see that. I still, in my personal opinion, that's still way too early. That's an extended first, basically. But if we got 2 picks before that, I could live with that. But I'm just going to tell you, I don't think that's going to work out. I think that's going to fail. Epically bad. I think Trinidad Chambliss is going to go in there and look like Johnny Manziel. And I don't mean that to be insulting. Johnny football at A&M was awesome. But it's not. He's not a pro quarterback. He bails on clean pockets. He's 5'10". Like, this is Johnny Manziel 2.0. It's not going to work.
Gary?
All right, Jake.
Thank you for the time, sir.
Appreciate you.
Chicken with pasta is worse than peanut butter with sandwich.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the grand jury. And now, let's get back to the Jake Asman Show with Jake Asman. Whoop!
Well said, Beast. Very well said. Let's get to more of your calls right now. Up next is a man who wanted an intro. So JJ and Gator made it happen.
Gator, I don't understand why I don't have an intro. Gator, I need an intro, buddy. A cool intro, please. I've been calling in, supporting Jake for over 4 years. You got Adam is too cool, Papa 73, and I don't understand why you won't create one. Women.
You have no sense of humor. That's the problem.
I don't.
When you have a sense of humor, then you can have an intro.
I'm worthy of an intro.
All right, fine.
I don't understand why I don't have an intro. Hey, Jake. Good morning.
Hey, Rob.
Jake, really good interview with Brandon Tierney. I caught it the other day. I liked it a lot. I have to say, I do like Brandon. I always have. Sometimes I don't obviously agree with his takes, but he's good. I feel bad he got a raw deal. What happened to him on the Fan? That's a shame.
He did. He definitely did.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why they catered to Carton so much, but I don't know. That's another story in itself. But I feel bad that I didn't get to talk to my man, Robby Sabo. I wanted to hold him true on the Mendoza and Simpson and obviously Dante Moore all being around the same level. I still do not believe that at all, Jake. I think Mendoza is head and shoulders better than those 2 other guys. I don't know why Gary thinks that Mendoza is so limited. I totally disagree with him. I think he's going to be a good quarterback under the right team, coach, and system, which we have none of that. So Tomlin, a guy like Tomlin, Jake, I would definitely give up a 2nd-round pick for Tomlin if Pittsburgh.
2nd overall pick. Second overall pick, not overall 2nd round pick. Yeah, the number 2 pick in this year's draft. I still would do it. People think that's too much. I don't. I think if the Jets didn't have all these other picks, then we could have the conversation. I think when you have pick 16, and you still have the 2 seconds the Jets have this year, including one of them being pick 33 and the other still in the top 50 at pick 44, I think you do it. And then you have 3 ones next year. So what's more valuable? A project quarterback who may or may not be good, we won't know, or a pass rusher, or a head coach when it's all about coaching quarterback in this league. And I could get a guy that's never had a losing year. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Or let's play it out, Jake. I'm with you. Let's play it out, you and I. Let's say that they trade the second overall pick for Tomlin. Now we got our coach, and we know for a fact that Tomlin's a really good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. From there, where do you go? Would you go and maybe get Chamberlain? Chamberlain in maybe
Chambliss.
Chambliss. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe with one of the second round picks. I mean, at that point, what I would do is I would. It depends how they feel about Ty Simpson. Maybe you would potentially take him with the Colts pick earlier than that. If you don't love them, then what's their quarterback situation at the time of the draft? Like, who's starting next year? Do they have Kirk Cousins? Do they have Kyler Murray? Again, Tomlin's proven he can win a lot with very little. So I think you try and find the best available bridge or someone with some upside who maybe could give you something. And then I think if it doesn't work out, you take the big swing at quarterback in 2027 when you have the 3 first-round picks.
I think here's a shout out to Bang Mateo there. I think Arthur Smith kind of was the death of Tomlin at the end. I don't think he's a great offensive coordinator. I think he's limited, Jake. And if Tomlin came to the Jets, and I know this is a big hypothetical, I think he would have to find a different OC there, because I think the game is starting a little bit pass by Arthur Smith. He's not the most creative offensive coordinator. He really isn't. I think he's limited, and I think that one ended up burning Tomlin. What do you think of that point?
I don't know. I mean, some of it is like, look at the quarterbacks they're working with too, right? I mean, Rodgers is 42. He's not going to be able to stand in the pocket and take a beating. Again, if you hire Tomlin, you got to let him pick his staff. He's Mike Tomlin. So if he wants Arthur Smith to be retained and bring him with him, then you got to let him do it. Again, I don't think this is going to happen. I think the earliest Tomlin would ever be the Jet coach is if he sits out a year this year, and then he's the top guy for all these teams with openings in 27.
In other words, we're stuck with Aaron Glenn for another year, right, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been obvious now, right? I mean, if he's not going to be fired now with all these coaches available, he's not going to get fired till the Jets start 1-5, and he's the first coach gone or whatever, or they're just bad next year and he's gone after they go, 5-12.
It's so funny, Jake, when you play that clip and he's sitting there and all of a sudden you see this not so cockiness in him anymore. And he says, I want to answer that question too. And then he's saying, yeah, I'm also a rookie head coach. And, me and Mooj are kind of learning, and he's got to throw Mooji in there. And you could see Mooji's face, like almost saying, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm doing better than you. And the smugness is kind of a little bit gone. He wants like that pass for the first year. But yet when we first hired him, he convinced all of us that you were going to see all this greatness in the beginning. You're going to see penalties cut down. You're going to see us coached well.
He did cut them down. They went from 31 to 23. They did cut down the penalties.
Or the last, what did he say? The last 4 minutes of the game belongs to me, and all these decision makings that he looked like a buffoon. Jake, come on. I mean, he was so exposed. You saw it, I saw it, but yet now he's almost asking for like mercy from us and the media and stuff. Well, I'm learning too right now, but I promise to be better, and I got this plan. Ask Tannenbaum, what is this plan, Mike? What is this plan that you keep talking about? There is no plan other than you want your company to succeed, the 33rd over there. But they're horse shit, they are. So, I mean, I don't know what their plan is, Jake, and I don't think we're going to ever hear about this plan. I think it's going to be on the fly as things go right, if they go right, because you can't go much further down than they already are. He'll say, yeah, that was me. I told you we got better because this plan. Do you?
It's a magical plan, Rob. Magical.
I really want.
Gator, where is my intro? I need a cool intro. I've been calling in, supporting Jake for over 4 years. You did intros for Papa Jet, and Adam is too cool. I'm worthy of an intro gator. I don't understand why I don't have an intro. You suck, Gator. You really suck.
Rob, thank you for the call. Some super chats and memberships. Matt L, I see you. Got you in the raffle. Ralphie in for 2. Better odds of happening in 2026. Jets winning season or weekly Asman Tannenbaum radio shows. You think Mike's going to quit? Look, if they suck next year, it's going to be tough to do the show for him. Because it's not just me, right? Like the callers are tough on Mike too. But that's the situation he put himself in, right? Comes with the job. If you're going to do a New York radio show covering the Jets and Giants every Sunday, and the Jets are awful, and you directly had a hand in hiring the coach, you're going to hear it from the fans. He's going to hear it from me, no question. But I like Mike as a person. We just vehemently disagree for obvious reasons on Glenn. Bino says, I want an explanation of which owner is envious of the Jets. Yeah, when Mike said that, I was like, come on, dude. No one's envious of the Jets. Let's who are we kidding? No one wants to be the Jets. And no one wants to be in the division right now with the Patriots and the Bills. Come on. With no path to a quarter. And then the number 1 pick? Okay, you get Mendoza. Matt L in the raffle for 2 with the super chat. Thanks, Matt. Basically, Mike T said the Jets have more options because the coachy champion sucked. 176 winning percentage gets you top draft picks. If you can't coach, it doesn't matter. Again, we've seen the Jets in this exact spot 5 years ago with Joe Douglas in year 1 of Saleh. And they got it horrifically wrong at quarterback, made a bunch of other mistakes along the way, and it didn't work. So that's totally fair. All right, more of your calls. We got Mike and then PBM up next. Hello, Mike Perez, you're first.
Jake, good morning. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
What's going on, Jake? Jake, Rob has the best intro.
He's got 2 of them now.
He has 2. One of the best. Jake, let me ask you something. Sorry, let me ask you something. Shit, I just lost my train of thought.
It's because you have the show on in the background. It's distracting you, Mike Perez.
Yeah, hold on. I wrote it down too. When was the last time we won a playoff game, Jake?
The last time the Jets won a playoff game was January 16th, 2011, 2010 playoffs against the Patriots.
So somehow we're too good for a winning coach to come over here?
We are too good for Mike Tomlin, according to some, yes.
For some reason, every winning coach that's out of the market right now, we're way too good for them because we're the Jets.
We were too good for Mike McCarthy a year ago. We didn't even interview him.
Listen, I would give up the 2nd draft pick yesterday for Mike. That's one.
For Tomlin.
For Mike Tomlin.
Agreed.
Jake, we have a project head coach. We don't need a project QB with our 2nd pick. At this point, he can go to the Rams. He can go anywhere where there's an established front office and head coach and culture. We're not that. It would be a waste, and it'll be the Giants part 2. First 5 games will probably be 0-5 or 1-4, and they're gonna play more. He's gonna suck, and then that's gonna be it. So we have a project head coach. We don't need a project QB at this point. I'm not gonna intrigue myself with the whole Trinidad Chambliss. He's Kyle from Arizona in college running around. Short QBs are just not it in the league. And I'm not going to.
Who do you think he compares to?
Kyler Murray.
Oh, Kyler Murray. Okay.
He's short. He runs around because he can't look over the pocket. That's why he's scrambling around. It's good in college with the Menzel and stuff like that, but we don't need a QB like that in the league, especially with our O-line. It's just I'm not intrigued with short QBs. That's one. And at this point, I think Mike T's gonna retire the way you're frying him every Sunday.
Look, we got to be honest, man. Like this, this was a nightmare year. We can't
What?
pretend like this is all part of this master plan. Like it was a
There,
disaster.
there, there's no plan. He doesn't have an answer to your rebuttal, and at the end of the day, the listeners are killing him. And I get it. I mean, his job is on the line as far as the 33rd. I mean, he's not going to say anything bad, but it's a shit show. Part of my French. Let's move down. I like Ty Simpson, maybe with the 33rd, or like our teen pick with the Colts. But it just depends who we pick number two, or who we pick if we move down. But Trinidad, he's not the answer. I don't want more. We're just a project team right now, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That's all I got for you today, Jake. Keep up the good work.
Mike, appreciate you, man. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Jay says at first it was draft a QB no matter what. Now we can't take a QB at 2. Yeah, my opinion at the beginning of the year was they got to get the quarterback no matter what. I have since changed that opinion. I don't trust his coaching staff. If Moore had more games started, Jay, I would say take him. But you can't find anyone who thinks he's going to be able to play right away. Everyone says he needs development. And then upon doing more research on just quarterbacks that haven't played a lot of games in college, it's not a great track record. It's just not. He's 20 years old. He'll just be turning 21 when the season starts. He's played 18 college starts in his career. If you look at recent first-round quarterbacks with fewer than 20 starts, it's Anthony Richardson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Kyler Murray, Dwayne Haskins, Mitch Trubisky, Ryan Tannehill. You got to go all the way back to Cam Newton before you really found someone who was like really good. Right? Cam won an MVP. I wouldn't take more personally. If it was Mendoza, I would take him. I wouldn't take more. I would trade out. Jay says you take him no matter what. We don't know when we'll have the number 2 pick again. Yeah, but are we sure he's worth the number 2 pick? If everyone says the guy needs to sit and develop, I don't know if I want to take that guy number 2. I don't know if I want to do that. Maybe I'll take a chance on a quarterback later in the draft. Try and trade out, build my team. Glenn's got to win games, so this helps him win games if he builds the roster up. They're not going to go into the draft needing more to start right away. They're going to have a Kirk Cousins variant, to quote Buffalo Jet fan or someone like that on their team by then. Also, they don't have the number 2 pick next year. Yeah, that's true. But they have 3 ones, and they'll have the ability to get a quarterback, you'd think, with one of those picks. Also, with Aaron Glenn, I'm pretty confident we're going to have a top 5 pick again next year. But I get it. Oh, you never know if you're going to be picking that high again. I understand that. I'm not saying you're wrong for that opinion. I don't have any faith in this coaching staff where I'd be willing to do that. More of your outstanding calls on the show.
Purple about Mike, he loves the Dark Knight. He's got a green pool and he jumps right in. Maybe someday he'll get a brown belt, but for now he's just that purple belt Mike. Purple belt Mike, it might be purple, but he can still kick your dirty ass.
All right, I got 2 points. One about Tomlin and one about AG. I'm going to start with Tomlin. Would you rather be drowning in an ocean, or would you rather be on a boat with a full tank of gas heading towards an island? Because Tomlin is the boat. Now, you might crash, you might not make it, but it's better than a guaranteed death. That's where we are. So all of you saying, everyone in the chat that doesn't want Tomlin, Tomlin is going to save us from death. From Saturday Night Live, from the memes, from the rest of the league clowning us, that ends. We are no longer a laughingstock. That alone is worth the 2nd overall pick. 1. 2, there is no way in hell that we're too good for Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is always 500 or better, winning a division. You know what else goes out? The graphic of the Colts having more division titles than the Jets. That also goes away. So for everyone that's against Tomlin, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about, and I'm tired of hearing morons. That's the first. The second thing about AG. If AG was good and everyone thought that, then Mike T would be hired right now to fill 25% of the NFL vacancies. Not one person has hired 30-13 because no one else in the NFL believes in Aaron Glenn. So if the entire league doesn't believe Aaron Glenn's any good, why the fuck do you think he's any good? Being that all he's shown you is terrible, right? Think about it, people. Wake the fuck up. We're Jet fans, and we are fans, but stop being delusional. We know he sucks. He's going to get fired next year, and then move on. Because what he won't do it this year. So just think about it for a second. If everyone else can see it but you're the problem. I know what denial is. I deal with denial with people all the time. This is what denial is.
Coaching. It's coaching. Because he can do it. It's just coaching. That's all it is.
Mike, love the passion. What a rant. Here's why I'd hire Mike Tomlin, by the way. Enough said. Stability. He's Tom Thibodeau. Get us back on track. Get us to stop being a joke, a laughingstock. I agree with all that. I don't think he's going to be fired by Pittsburgh. I think he's likely to step down and do TV for a year. I saw a report from Andrew Marchand, who covers sports media for The Athletic, that Fox is perceived to be the favorite for Tomlin, which would be interesting because him and Terry Bradshaw don't really get along. Bradshaw's been super critical of Tomlin over the years. Man, this fan base is down bad. Taylor says that quote was about coaching Will McDonald adding a power move to his game, which he's did. Where's the own? Shut up, Taylor. Shut up. Where's the own? He talked not just about Will McDonald. He said from the beginning, I could find you all these press conferences where he talked about his staff coaching guys up, player development, things they're working on with specific guys. That's just the most obvious one because he was a dick to Connor Hughes. That's why that one was memorable. He interrupted Connor's question and just goes, it's coaching, man. It's coaching. That's why we played that one. Because Will McDonald had 10.5 sacks under Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich and looked like an ascending player. And this year he had one game where he had 4 sacks. He finished with 8 on the year. You do the math. Good Lord. I got to find the quote when he was like, we want our day 3 picks to play like day 2 picks. We want our day 2 picks to play like first rounders. And it's just, Justin Fields never been coached up properly. Bragging about Fields. Remember he bragged about Arian Smith? Thank you, Leon. Good point. We got to find the Arian Smith one. Joke. Let Me In says, what up, Jake? As a diehard Jet fan for 35 years, I pray Woody sells the franchise and we get our own stadium with actual green seats and a winning roster. Wouldn't that be nice? So the crappy, just gray, boring seats that are MetLife at MetLife right now. Super chat from Thunderlips. This summer's highlight will be attending a Gerbils birthday party on YouTube. It certainly was last summer. Happy birthday to little Joey, right, Beast?
June 12th. Ding! Let's move along. Now sit back, folks, and plug in your seatbelts. Get ready for the ride, because we're going to take a ride now.
That had a kick to it.
Thank you, Beast. More calls, shall we? Philly Noodles is next. Hello, Philly.
Hey, what up, man? Yeah, it'd be nice if Tomlin was available, but we know one thing's for certain: he's not getting fired, Glenn. So, I mean, if he really does go through a TV cycle for one season, you could bet your fucking bottom dollar that Woody, if he's firing Glenn, that's their first call. He's gonna offer him whatever the hell he wants at that point. So, would we like it a year earlier? Yeah, sure. But it is what it is. And if all charts make sense that we've seen, if they bring in the right quarterback, Tomlin wins with the guy the next season. So, I mean, it is what it is. I know everybody's disgruntled, but what the fuck are we going to do? You know what I mean? It's more about let's hope certain picks are made correctly. Even if the quarterback is legit, it works the next season if he's not here, or if he's here, it works this season. I mean, it is what it is. It's not like we've been given anything different in the past 15 plus years. You know what I mean? So to get so distraught over something that's not going to change because it's a business thing, right? In the end, if a manufacturer keeps putting on a shit product and you keep buying it, the manufacturer's not going to change their process. They're making money off of it. So as consumers, we get all fucking pissed off, and I get it, and we should be, but we keep buying into it. So I think the biggest push with your platform that you've used before, and you've said it, I think if you're a season ticket holder, don't cut the tickets. When it's bad for business, like Woody got pissed off at the end of the season. If it's really that bad for business, the beginning of the season, he would have to let go of Aaron Glenn at some point, halfway through the season or before. So, and yeah, I don't know what else. Let's see what happens.
If they get off to a terrible start, he can not even make it through the season, which is crazy.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So, I mean, if Tomlin's available, that will be the phone call that's made. And without a doubt, Muji will be kept. It feels like it's going to happen. So, you know, if you feel it in your gut. Why would I think he'd be retained? I don't know. I just think
if Tomlin's coming in, he's going to want to pick the personnel person he wants to work with.
That's true. I mean, I don't know who he would bring with him. He probably can't. He can't bring Khan. I don't know who's going to get left over in that staff. Obviously, if there is a turnover, so it's good. It's something to watch out for in the background. But now let's just see what happens with the staff. We're already in the new week. The fact that a hire hasn't been made, whatever vetting they're doing, hopefully it's sensible.
I think Charles London's coming back, Philly. They reviewed everything and they determined he's doing an outstanding job. He's exactly what we need on our offensive staff to go forward.
That's incorrect. That's incorrect. So if anyone thinks I'm an AG truther, please know that Charles. I said that at the beginning of the season.
Are you a bootlicker?
I do not bootlick because I'm sorry. I said it in the beginning of the season with London that let's see whatever's going to happen with London. I thought that was a weird hire, and I thought that was a questionable hire. He didn't bring no Sam Howell with him. He Drew Lock. Not to say that these guys are great. He brought no competition to the staff saying, hey, guys, we got to bring somebody else in here. You know what I mean? I know we're getting Justin. None of that occurred, right? We knew that was a problem to begin with. So, I mean, it is what it is. We move forward, and I think Drew Aller would be a great, dart fourth-round pick just to take, see what you can make of the kid halfway through the season. If somebody's shit in the bed, a Mario Ta, whoever you can get. People are still clamoring about McKee. There's options, man. Let's exhaust the options, like Moogie said. Let's see what happens. But let's go, Jets. Keep going, Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, Philly Noodles checking in. Good call from him. Open phone lines if you want to in. We got the raffle coming up. Our grand prize in honor of Super Bowl III's anniversary yesterday is a signed Joe Namath helmet. Enter the Asmaniac raffle if you want this sent to your home. Black Hockey Media writes in, love the show with Brandon Tierney. You guys work good together. Thank you, Black Hockey Media. Appreciate that. Good combo with BT yesterday on the channel for those who missed it. Abu Jacob says, Jake, you should have a segment of you reading mean tweets about you. It'd be hilarious. Also, I'm on Team Tradeback. We did the Reddit yesterday, reading Reddit comments. We could do tweets as well. I get plenty of those. Someone on Twitter tweeted, people have been asking what Aaron Glenn does well. I'd say player evaluation. So I responded, and I'm like, player evaluation. Here's Glenn discussing his expectations for Justin Fields this season. Like, really? People are going to say Aaron Glenn was good at player evaluation? I can't. Taylor says, stop neglecting our new franchise quarterback, Bailey Zappi. Put some spec on his name. I'll put some respect on Bailey Zappi's name. He's the guy. He did tweet the Jet GIF yesterday at Fireman Ed. So there's that. Let Me In says, what up, Jake? I read that one already. Hold on. Oh, Oregon Jet says, it will always be Dante. Now, do you want the Jets to take him, though, Oregon? Like, I know you're a Ducks fan, but the Jets could ruin him. Wouldn't you rather him go somewhere else or stay in school another year? How do you feel as an Oregon Ducks fan? Do you want him to declare and be a Jet? Or for his own good, do you hope he stays in school? Jesse says, sorry, kids, close your ears. I don't know what that was in reference to specifically. Alex Nevez says, Jake never says anything positive about the Jets. What a clown. I guess you're new around here. I love the people who are mad at me for being honest about the team. Those are my favorites. When I have reasons to be positive, believe me, I'll be positive. Anyone who's watched the show longer than a year could speak to that. I'm not defending 3-14, though. I refuse to do it. Not when every metric and my own eyes, everything I've heard from people I trust, tell me that this is not going to work here. So I digress. Hit the like button. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Last chance to get in on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is...
Chicken with pasta is worse than peanut butter with sandwich.
I have an update. So I have a friend who's a Steelers fan. I just texted him my hypothetical trade. I said, Jets receive Tomlin, Steelers receive second overall pick. He said, dude, you can have him for an empty vending machine. But yeah, I do the second overall pick. So...
Well, great. Here's the Colts pick instead. Take the Colts pick instead.
I think the Steelers fans want to get rid of him. I don't know if he's going to be back with Pittsburgh next year. But it's a crazy world that we live in, that Aaron Glenn's going to keep his job and Mike Tomlin's going to lose his. Think about that. That's wild.
I know.
That's wild.
Someone asked, why would you hire Mike Tomlin? I don't know. Maybe a 19-year track record of never having one losing season, and a Jets franchise that hasn't had a winning season in a decade. Hasn't made the playoffs in 15 years. Even if we don't win a Super Bowl with him, we could get back on track. We could be a respectable franchise and go from there.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like, the knock on Andy Reid was he couldn't win the big one, right? When that's why the Eagles fired him. He couldn't get him over the top. Oh, yep. Well, he's won 3 Super Bowls. I mean, why couldn't you win with a guy who's around it every year, a guy who's winning every year can eventually win a championship, right? He could eventually win a Super Bowl. He's already done it, and he's been to another one. Right? I don't. Do they want to keep Glenn or do they not want Tomlin? What's the actual objection here? Like, do they not want Tomlin? Is he not good? I understand Steelers fans have had it with him because they have a higher expectations. But, like, hang on. Is the objection with Tomlin or is the objection with firing Glenn? That's really that's what I want to ask the like Jets Johnny's in the chat saying it's wild. Who do you think gives us a better chance to win? Tomlin or Aaron Glenn?
They believe in Glenn. He showed a lot in year 1. There were 0 field goals that were blocked, and you could build on that going into year 2.
Here, if you're my age, if you're around my age, he grew up a Jets fan. Aaron Glenn was probably your favorite player on the Jets, at least on the defensive side of the ball, right? Your favorite players were probably Martin, Corbett, and Glenn in some order, those 3. If Aaron Glenn played for the Arizona Cardinals and never played for the Jets, he wouldn't be here in the first place. And if he was, he would have fired a long time ago. The only reason Aaron Glenn is still here is because he was a great player for our team. That's it. Like that's the only reason why he's here.
If he never played for the Jets, he would have been fired after the season.
Without doubt. Like, there's no question about
it. Again, someone made this point yesterday. I forget, but it's spot on. If they hired Matt Nagy or they hired, who were the other jabroni candidates that they wasted time? They hired Mike Loxley. Like, he'd be fired. Again, Glenn was a Jet, a very good one. So he gets a second year. It is so incredibly stupid, but that is where we're at.
And we're going to have to waste another year of this. And then we're going to be in this position 12 months from now talking about what coach to hire. Do it now. Just pull the Band-Aid off now. There's no point in playing with your food. Just kill it. Like, just this didn't work out. Own up to your mistakes. Like, this didn't work. Like, can we just acknowledge that Aaron Glenn didn't work? It didn't work. I wanted it to work too. We all did. If you're my age, like, you loved Aaron Glenn.
Right.
Aaron Glenn was probably your favorite Jet. It didn't work out. Just like Chris Mullen didn't work out with St. John. Sorry, it sucks. It didn't work out. We got to move on now.
I'll tell you what. Now that he's coming back, though, we get another season of great practices.
We had a great week of practice.
Again, the Jets, I think they should televise their practices or at least allow season ticket holders to go to them. Because the product you get on Sundays is trash, but Wednesday through Friday, it's never been better. It's a dynasty, I'm told. So they should build more seating, build more stands and stadium-like seats around the practice facility and allow fans to attend practice. Because if you could watch the Jets practice, that's better than actually watching them play on Sunday. Because they obviously always have great practices. So consider that. All right, raffle coming up. I'm counting the final entries here. Namath replica ring, Namath signed helmet, and Super Bowl III framed scorecard. When you entered today, you also are entered in next week's raffle. It's a 2-for-1. Raffle 57, the top prize is a signed Garrett Wilson helmet, a signed Darrelle Revis helmet, and a signed Chad Pennington helmet. All right, home stretch of calls here. The Lup Man is next. Hello, Luppy.
Hey, Jake. How you doing today? How's it going?
Luppy.
Yeah, let me tell you, that Brandon BT interview yesterday, when he was on there, it was definitely chemistry. It was awesome.
He was awesome. Yeah, good.
I wish him
appreciate him coming on.
Yeah, I wish him nothing but the best. Let me tell you, another week, another year of playoffs. The Jets aren't in it. And, Jake, I'm not mad. I'm like, how am I not mad? I was pissed off at the last game of the season, but I'm not mad. And I'm thinking, you know why? I've seen this coming. I've seen this circus pony show, whatever you want to say, circus and pony show before. Let's hire a first-time OC defensive side of the ball as our head coach. Let's hire a first-time, GM. This is gonna be different. And yet I knew in my heart it wasn't gonna be different. I seen the train coming with Glenn, as the conductor, going down the tracks, saying, "Here we come. We're gonna fuck it up again." Excuse my language. Another year of the same stuff that we're doing over and over again. No changes. No somebody who's established. That's why it's crazy these people saying about Tomlin and have an established coach in here. We don't know what it's like for years. It's something we need. I mean, don't piss on me and tell me it's raining. I mean, we've seen this before. I wasn't mad about that. I'm mad about the actions of Woody. He just keeps doing the same mistakes, and they're absolutely right. If Aaron Glenn, who we all love, wasn't a Jet, he would have been jettisoned. He would have been gone. I mean, it's ridiculous, and now we have to sit back and say, okay, let's wait for you to develop, because we didn't wait enough as a Jet fan. Instead of hiring an established coach, where he actually has a plan, he's been through it before, he's got somebody to a Super Bowl or at least the playoffs, or at least a winning team. This is the same train we see coming every year as Jet fans, and we lay on the tracks and we say, "Here it comes," and nobody saves us. There's nobody, right? So just want to give a little shout out to my daughter Jasmine, the one that called you for that video, and thank you. Today's her 19th birthday, so she's just happy for her, and just can't wait to take her out. We're going to be going to get her cake in a few minutes, but local Giuseppe. So just thank you again for that, Jake. It's just wanted to let you know.
Luppy, you're the man. Great call, and love that hoodie.
Thank you. I love it too.
The Lup Man, check it in. He always delivers. Get the same hoodie that Luppy's wearing at jakeasman.com/shop. If you're a Patreon member, you get 20% off every item in the store. It's included with your membership. Join the Patreon, especially in the off season, so the show can survive. Patreon.com/JakeAsmanShow. Sign up, name added to the intro. You get Discord access, discounts in the merch store. You'll find out about exclusive events before anyone. I want to shout out a couple of recent Patreon subscribers. Ken, who signed up for the year. Ted, who signed up for the year. They got 10 raffle tickets by doing so. And Andrew Malia also signed up for the Patreon, so appreciate that as well. Jay Petito says 2 more for the raffle. Jay Petito, I got you. You are in, baby. All right, I'm counting raffle names right now. I already had all the weekly leading up to the show, but I'm going to add today's entries. We'll spin the wheel 3 times for the 3 Super Bowl related prizes. So that's what we have in store. And then this afternoon, film review show, Joe Blow It. We're going to break down more, break down a little Mendoza. Should the Jets take Dante Moore? Should they do it? Some say yes, you got to take the quarterback no matter what. Like some of us are like, I don't know. He needs a lot of development. We're the Jets. That's the thing. Papa Jet in the house. He gifted a membership. Papa, thank you. We appreciate your support. Papa Jet. Let's get him on the raffle wheel here. All right. Home stretch. Philly news. Did he declare yet? No, he did not. Jay says time for AR to go back to the darkness retreat. I think Rodgers retires. Now, could I see Rodgers coming out of retirement next year and doing what Rivers just did? I actually could. I think he loves football. Right? And I feel like Rodgers could be pretty good if he went to the right team because the arm still works. He would need to know the offense and all that, like what Rivers did, but I could see it. Jetstream in the raffle for 1. Thank you, Jetstream. We got you down. Jetstream, I'm adding your name here. Amanda Madison, quarterback savant. AG will ruin Dante Moore if they take him. I don't think so. Aaron Glenn was asked the other day about him and his staff developing a quarterback.
Given your defensive background, and given the way your quarterbacks performed this year, why should people feel confident that you have the infrastructure in place to pick a quarterback and develop him properly?
You know what? That's a good question. And we're going to exhaust everything that we can to make sure that we surround our quarterbacks now, and if we get any quarterbacks in the future, right, with the guys that's going to help them. And then again, that's a whole part of, making sure that we evaluate everything that's going on, make sure we have the right people here that can help the quarterback. And I'm not saying that we don't have that. That's
I mean, I'll say it. You don't have that. You have a former running back who's your quarterback coach. You don't have that. You need to add to your coaching staff. There's without a doubt. Mike D's nuts checking in. He writes in, Glenn needs to go. Too bad Woody won't do it. No, Woody will do the absolute worst thing, which is fire the guy in the middle of next year when they get out to a terrible start, or fire him at the end of next season. And then we're the ones who have to suffer through another year of bad football when we could be setting our franchise up with a legit coach now, get our quarterback, allow this coaching staff to start implementing and building out the roster that fits what they want to do, but we're just going to wait a year to do it. Boomtown in the house. He joins both raffles for 1. Thank you, Boom. As Maniac Madness is coming, I saw a look at a projected bracket the other day. Preliminary bracket. It's going to change a million times, but it was good to get the juices flowing. The 1 seeds this year. Oh, man. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, man. Bob says we need a quarterback-specific coach with experience. I agree. We have Charles London, though. It's fine. Ted Ruggiero is in the house. Ted, I just shouted you out for joining the Patreon, and now you got 5 more entries. Appreciate you. Woody, where are you at? Give him a hug.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Thank you to Ted. Let me put him in for 5 more entries. Ted, thank you. What else we have here? Black Hockey Media talking in circles. AJ. He never gives specifics on anything. It's like if you don't know any better, you believe him because he comes across confident and well. And I can see how Woody was fooled. But now that we know he's that he's a fraud, when he's actually pressed on things, we know the truth. That's what's sad. It's terrible. Daniel says, Jake, did you see Bub's epic rant on Let's Talk Jets last night? I didn't. I'm going to have to watch it. I'm a big fan of Tyson and Bubs. Let's see. Oscar says Mad Max deserves to be a number 1 seed. Look, it's tough to argue. Ladies and gentlemen, are we ready for the weekly raffle? I think we are. Let's bring on the man to send us there.
What do I got here, Jake? What's this?
A trash bag?
This is where Aaron Glenn's got to go, in the garbage. But enough about that. Let's see if I can send it on a one-way ticket. See you later, alligator.
Just don't let go of the rope.
Now, to all you little cool cats out there in TV land, let's spin the Jake Gasman 2026 Wheel of Champions.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac Raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Oh, baby. Here we go. The weekly raffle. Again, this combines everyone's entries over the last week on the show. And for this show, we did a little 2-for-1. If you entered while we were live, you're already in for next week. Again, I can't start this off until I thank the audience again. You guys make it possible to do this year-round. We do giveaways on basically every show. We've been doing that since July. We started the weekly raffle series a year ago, over a year ago now, last December. So thank you guys for your support. We thought this would just be something we did for the holiday season, and it was so successful, we never stopped doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, as usual, Black Gypsy loves to sneak in at the end. We got you in, Black Gypsy. Thanks for gifting a membership to the community. You are in the raffle for 1. Also, I see Derek, the Jet fan, is in here. Derek, the Kansas Jet fan. Derek, your Curtis Martin helmet has been ordered. It is estimated to arrive January 17th through January 24th. Returns are not accepted. I just got the alert emailed to me. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 winners for 3 prizes. You can only win once per raffle. Our first prize is this. It is a framed Super Bowl III collector's item ticket display. Prize 2 is a signed Namath helmet, and prize 3 is a replica Namath ring. Are we ready? I believe we are, folks. Here we go. The winner of the framed Super Bowl III ticket display is Coach James Rodriguez. James, congratulations, man. Appreciate you. And thank you for all your support. Let's remove his entries and we'll spin it again. Shuffle the names. Our second prize is the Joe Namath helmet. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner is Sean Horton. Sean, congratulations. I don't know if you've won before. Email me, asmanjake@gmail.com. Your name, address, and we'll get that helmet sent your way. That means we got 1 spin left. This is for a replica Super Bowl III ring. Ladies and gentlemen, your final winner in this week's raffle is Ab Lab Studios. Ab Lab, congratulations. Great winners. 3 big-time Jet fans who've been supporting the show for a long time. Love that. Again, congrats to Coach James, Sean, and Ab Lab on winning this week's raffle. Where's Fireman at? Give him a Jet chant. Thanks to everyone for their support. Next week's prizes already been announced. Pennington signed helmet, Revis signed helmet, Garrett Wilson signed helmet. More chances to win daily prizes during the week as we kick off the offseason of New York Jets talk on the channel. Again, you guys are the best. Like the video. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't. We're live twice a day for over 2 hours each show. Basically 4+ hours of Jets talk per day, every day. That's what we bring you. Plus a weekend show on either Saturday or Sunday now that we're fully in the offseason. We'll talk more about Dante Moore this afternoon. Joe Blewett will join us for a film review. Was it as bad as it looked in that playoff game? And would Joe Blewett still take him second overall? We'll get into it then. Until then, I leave you guys with a video that hopefully will make you laugh, will make you think, or maybe we'll do none of those things. Either way, I'm going to play it. Go Jets, everybody.
You guys know when the Lane train calls in, this show could go anywhere, so buckle up. What's up, Lane Kerner?
Zach Wilson is not going to come back. Why don't you think he's going to sign still with the Jets? Is it because he's not good?
He stinks!
Oh, stinks? Yeah, same feeling.
The guy is terrible!
I said announce the draft picks.
Lane, I want you to announce a Jets pick. That would make my
Yeah,
life.
I mean, who am I going to pick, though, for the draft? On the 2022 draft pick, the pick goes to Knoble out of college. Then they tell you who the players are from, and their families get excited. You sign him, he should be good going into week 1. Yeah, I know a lot of the football.
That was amazing. I love you, Lane. You're the best. What a draft pick. Lane, you are a national treasure.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets.